need. My baby, my Sunday silent song. My Sunday silent song. My baby bad, my baby good, my baby all the things I need. My baby, my Sunday silent song. My Sunday silent song. So be your best jump for it. I wanna take a picture so this can last longer for it. Take my secrets, got that precious money. I never want to hear you crying, so her accent's fine. Yeah, her accent's fine. Oppositions in come left and right, but I don't care. I'm more fixing, leave you, but I dive in. Without me, come on, now you are my only strength. Whether we your border, you know you're my best. And I believe, yes I believe, I'm falling for you like a thief. You give the keys, when I see you, I feel it's still the keys to your heart to care. And I believe, yes I believe, I'm falling for you like a thief. Forgive the keys, when I see you, I feel it's still the keys to your heart to care. Yeah, my baby bad, my baby good, my baby all the things I need. My baby, my Sunday silent song, my Sunday silent song. My baby bad, my baby good, my baby all the things I need. My baby, my Sunday silent song, my Sunday silent song, she said she's okay. I don't believe her. There's just something in the way she turns her back on me. I know in my mind I won't leave her. There's just something about the way we love each other right. And even though we find so not easy, I know sometimes in love it can be bad. And even though we need a little break, I know that you come back to me. That I'll come back to you. No Señor start to feel my love. Say, feel it. No Señor feel it. No Señor start to feel my love. Say, feel it. No Señor feel it. Na 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 na. Usiponipenda nitapendwa na nani? Nitakuwa mgeni wa nani? Ukiwa mbali nami nabaki taabani. Ona nahisi kisirani, my love haina maana. Mimi na wewe kusuzana, ona tunasimangana, hatuwezi semezana, my love haina maana. Mimi na wewe kusuzana, ona tunasimangana, hatuwezi semezana. And even though we fight so not easy, I know sometimes in love it can be bad. And even though we need a little break, I know that you'll come back to me. Here, you know that I'll come back to you. Don't send yourself to feel my love. Say, feel it. Don't send you feel it. Dancing you start to feel my love. Say, feel it. Dancing you feel it. Dancing you start to feel my love. Say, feel it. Dancing you feel it. So insecure, she don't make love when the lights on. So insecure, she don't wanna talk about it now. And I'm so insecure, one day she leave me, yeah. And she found another guy who make her happy all the night. Just make you a magic, mini cheesy, mini stoka, nakuhala. When you're naked, I see angels. And I hope you feel the same. But you're insecure, yeah. I'm insecure, ah. Woman, you're so insecure, yeah. I'm insecure, ah. I'm so insecure. Miss Amanga message you get your phone. So insecure, never telling you about it now. Me when I see Mona, she show. Never leave your arms when make a on. Let's talk about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. See your magic, see my cheesy. Don't you Guzana, the police. And your body is a movie. And I hope you feel the same. But you're insecure, yeah. I'm insecure, ah. Woman, you're so insecure, yeah. I'm insecure, ah. Why are we so insecure? Don't know why we're running from. In a breaking, but before we crash and burn, hope you see the light. I hope you see the light. Chilling your magic, sending my cheesy. The chinguzana, keep policing. And your body is a movie. And I hope you feel the same. Chilling your magic, sending my cheesy. The chinguzana, keep policing. And your body is a movie. And I hope you feel the same. But you're insecure, yeah. I'm insecure, ah. Woman, you're so insecure, yeah. I'm insecure, ah. Baby, you're so insecure, yeah. I'm insecure, ah. Woman, you're so insecure, yeah. I'm insecure, ah.
All right, good afternoon everyone. Good afternoon. With me in the air, tumenyamaza sana. Good afternoon. My youth, mpo? Mpo? Amko ampigi kelele. Good afternoon once more. All right, so we welcome our guests. Let's clap for them as they take their seats. Our guests are here to apigie makofi. All right, so happy to have everyone here. So thank you so much, Alan and team, for being here. So good afternoon once more. Yes, my name is Kanyingi Kuria from Kenya Airways Corporate Communications, and I'll be your MC for this amazing and very special session. So we know what day this is today. What day are we today? What day are we celebrating today? I can hear you guys. Yes, International Youth Day. So it's all about celebrating the creativity, the potential, the energy that the youth possess, not just across the country, but around the world. So, like I've said, it's a very special day to celebrate all these amazing things. And I just want to give an outline of what to expect. I think we all have our guests in place, so I just want to take you through. This is going to be a very fun and engaging session. So I don't want you guys to feel like you came here to listen and everything. So we also want to hear from you guys. And we'll be passing the mic, by the way, so that you can get back to us and give us your thoughts on various issues that we'll be discussing today. So we'll have the first session, which is opening remarks, which have already started anyway. Then we have two fireside chat sessions from two groups of our very esteemed keynote speakers or guests that we've invited to be here with you today. Then we'll also, and by the way, during these sessions, we'll ask that you get to participate because these conversations are all about you. Then thirdly, we'll close this session. We aim to make it short, fun, and engaging, and it will be about an open mic session where you get to ask questions. But at the same time, remember, we'll be expecting that you keep engaging us as much as you can throughout this session. So without further ado, so we are at, this is Kenya Airways ATO approved training organization or institute. It's called the Pride Center. This is where we get to train the best of the very best across the world. So, and I just want to invite the host of this place. I don't know him, but maybe from this introduction, we'll get to know who he is. But let me just read something about him. So under his vision and resilience in the aviation industry. And by the way, earlier this year, he was recognized with a prestigious leadership award in aviation, which is a testament to his dedication and impactful contributions to the sector. Do you know who that is, guys? Who can give me a guess? Alan Kilavuka. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Alan Kilavuka, KQCU and Group MT. Karibu, Alan.
Good afternoon, everybody. Are you well? We didn't do a safety. We're supposed to do something safety. Yeah. And I'm not the qualified person to do it. You're all safe. Do you have a safety person here? Who is a safety person here? We should have done that. We always do it. So, Kamau, you know you're doing your appraisal soon. This one, you're in trouble. Anyway, welcome to the Pride Center. Welcome to the Pride Center. We have the Pride Stars. I can see you're here. Make some noise, Pride Stars. Yeah, those are our students at the Pride Center. I know we have some people here from KCB. Make some noise. Hey, Bana, you've been paid. Kwanza, you are the people who have a lot of money, so you should make more noise. KCB, make some noise. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, okay. I know we have also people from Two Rivers. Make some noise. Maxwell, did you come with some people? Okay. Eugene? 3 people. And then the rest of you, I think, are from Kenya Airways? Yeah, good. Welcome to this session. We want it to be very, very engaging. Like I said, this is the Pride Center. Today is International Youth Day. And I just thought I should invite some of my colleagues from other industries to come and share with us this International Youth Day. The idea is to engage with the youth. You know what has been happening in the last few, I should say, months or weeks, is because we are not engaging with the youth enough. Don't you agree with me? Yeah, so we want to engage with you. We want to share some of our, hopefully, wisdom, but we also want to hear from you. And we would like to encourage other corporates, other individuals to continue to engage with the youth so that we can have a more productive society. Because the youth are 70% of society. Actually, it depends on what you mean by youth. Because, you know, I told my team to do a research on, you know, the youth. So they gave me so many numbers, I'm so mixed up. They said, you know, 35 and below is about 35%. But if you are like the UN and you consider 45 and below to be youth, because that's the millennial and the Gen Zs, then that's 70%. So depending on, you know, your definition of the youth, the point is the majority are the youth. And we have to engage you, and you engage us so that we know how we can move the society, corporates, individuals forward. And that is the purpose of this discussion. And we decided to have it in this day, the International Youth Day, so that it can be relevant. So with that said, I'd like to welcome you one more time to Kenya Airways, the Pride Center. Please feel engaged, feel free. Your setup is very comfortable. You guys are looking quite nice, you know, the way you're set up here. So welcome one more time. I think, Kure, let me hand it over to you, and then you'll take us to the next session. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Let's go for Alan. Thank you very much. Yeah, so like I told you, so I want to keep updating you on what you can look forward to, because this is your session, right? It's a session, right? Yes, it's a session. Yeah, great. So like I said, we'll have 2 fireside chat sessions, but before that, we'll just have a brief of the what this day is about. Someone will give us a brief before I invite them. So they'll tell us why youth inclusivity, leadership, and investment opportunities are important. But at the same time, I told you we have 2 sessions, and I just want to go through over a few of the guests we've invited so that you can see what you can look forward to. So for the first session, we have our very own CEO, Alan Kilavuka, Kenya Airways Group MD and CEO. Then we have, you may know her from our previous engagements, Brenda Mbathi. She's the CEO of TRIFIC, that's the Two Rivers International Finance and Innovation Center. Then we have person also you'd really know, Mr. Paul Russo, Group CEO, KCB Group. Then on the other set of speakers, we have, again, someone you all know is the youth. That's Eugene Mbogwa. There's the CEO of DNR Studios. Then we have Solomon Lufute. He is the advocate of High Court of Kenya. Then we have Maxwell Mokaria, or has been corrected, he's called a billionaire. And actually, he really looks like one, right? So you can really look forward to that session. So he's the CEO of a company called Psycho Africa Bikes and Events. So without further ado, I'm going to invite my colleague. His name is Mr. Emmanuel Moneki. So he's going to take us through this thematic brief of what this inclusivity on youth, on you guys, on us, is really about. Moneki, welcome to the stage. Let's put our hands together for Moneki.
Thank you. And a very good afternoon. How are you doing? Habari zenu. Mayouth mpo? Yes, I'll be very careful so that I do not poke myself in that bracket, but I'm just slightly past that bracket. But yes, indeed, I enjoyed my youth, and it's a pleasure seeing all of you here. So it's interesting that the first concept of the World Youth Day was formed in the year 2000, exactly on a day like this, August 12th. That makes me wonder whether there were youths before that. You know, why did they just do this about 23 years ago? But this shows that the youth agenda is something that was not an in thing, a concept that was thought about seriously before that. But of late, and from 23 years ago to this day, this has become an important agenda, and hence we are gathered here today to celebrate International Youth Day. Globally, the theme for this particular year is From Clicks to Progress, Youth Digital Pathways to Sustainable Development. So from clicks to progress. So over the past few years that this day has been celebrated, it has more or less been PR related, but it's now time for that to move from clicks and social media and just one-day blitz and campaigns to sustainable development going forward. This has been customized in the context of Kenya Airways and the people we have partnered with to have youth leadership as a topic, youth economic opportunities, and youth innovation. 3 things that are very dear to us at Kenya Airways, and I believe even the rest of the other organizations. And in youth leadership, we tackle issues to do with not only leadership, but also ethics and integrity. And this is particularly important at this point in time in our nation, and especially the Generation Z that has pricked the conscience of this nation and has awakened even the ones who are slumbering into the fact that youth have arrived at the scene of decision making. So as we progress with this discussion this afternoon and this evening, I welcome you all to take part in it. It's a lively debate. Give your input. There are no right answers, there are no wrong answers, but we all participate and share. And as we do all this, let's remember that the original concept of this day, on August 12th, 2000, 23 years ago, was partly to bring the youth agenda to the fore, and this was also highlighted in the SDGs. Though not specifically mentioned, SDG number 10, which is reducing inequalities, has the youth at heart. So I welcome you all again for this afternoon session. Asanteni sana, karibu to Kenya Airways, and let's enjoy ourselves. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So you remember the sessions I talked about? We're just about to talk to them, but I have something for you guys to crack. Maybe the person who gets it right might just go home with a gift, maybe, or some very nice wishes. All right, so this is it. So why did the teenager bring a pencil to the party on International Youth Day? A teenager brought a pencil to the party on International Youth Day. A teenager brought a pencil to the International Youth Day. Why do you think they did that? Any guesses? I should start moving the mic around. A pencil, no. A teenager brought a pencil to the International Youth Day. What did they want to do with that pencil? Okay, let me go before I give.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Kelvin, part of the Kenya Airways team. So my thoughts would be, you see how a pencil has an eraser at the top. So we were to write something, and then if it doesn't match up with what is already there, we can erase, but we won't leave before we find something that is workable for both parties. Thank you.
Let's clap him. That's a very genius guess, by the way. Very close to the answer.
Hi.
Hello.
My name is Kanana. I'm a PA for Ruth Mweni. The teenager brought the pencil to draw a better future.
That's the answer, actually. Let's clap for her. So, and that's why I keep saying, you know, we, the youth, are very creative. So then I have another answer. Who wants to try? Because, you know, sometimes there are several answers to a question. Okay, let's pass a mic to the gentleman at the back. He's called Mr. Oseso. He's in our loyalty team.
Hi, my name is Remjas from Sante Rewards loyalty team. I would say the youth brought the pencil to the event to draw attention.
Okay, both correct answers, actually. That's it. Let's clap for them both. Wonderful. So I guess you'll be seeing me behind the tent, right? So I want us, all right? Great. Let's go to the next session. So we're going to have the first fireside chat session, and it will be moderated by someone you may all know, especially for those in the PR and communications field. So I'm just going to tell you something, just a little bit about who she is. So she's a trained journalist, very passionate, by the way, about, you know, creating business-changing content through storytelling and targeted messaging. And she's on radio right now. So if you haven't listened to her, you know, her shows she produces or creates content for, you need to do that. So she's currently a brand manager at Hot 96. That's a radio station under Raw Media Services, RMS. And she also hosts her own show called The Morning After. So every Saturday on Hot 96, and a digital show, which you may know again because you are the UN and you're very digital. It's called Behind the Mic on East Africa's largest digital platform, Citizen Digital, where she interviews key personalities. So with a career spanning over a decade and a strategic communications professional and the public face of our brands. So let's welcome a lady by the name Cynthia Mwangi. Let's clap for her. Karibu, Cynthia.
Good afternoon. How are you? Okay, so my name is Cynthia Mwangi, as you've heard. Sometimes when you hear yourself being introduced, I'm like, that's me. Oh my God, people need to be serious, yeah? Mnipe heshima kidogo jamani. Are we done? Oh, okay. I'm supposed to fill this space with air. I was like, oh my God, I'm about to introduce a very interesting panel. We're going to have great conversations as they do the thing they're doing behind the scenes, and then we're going to pretend there's nothing that's going on, yes? How many of you are really good at dance? Who's doing the latest TikTok dance? Nani amefanya so far? Baby girl, you. Come. Quick, fast. Stop wasting time. We like people who move fast. Yeah? What's the latest TikTok dance right now?
I know of Anguka Nayo.
Tuko a tupo? Tupo? DJ uko na anguka nayo? DJ ako huku. DJ nani ako naanguka nayo? Kama hamna sijui mnafanya nini sasa jamani. I do not know. You can't be serious people. You can't. So as they look for it, my panel, please be ready. We will anguka nayo. And that's just one. Yeah. Oh, no, but... No, it's not. Nani ako na hiyo wimbo atuchezee tu dakika moja. Tuwaonyeshe ndo so that they are not shocked. Si ndio? So they get ready. Yeah? We need a few people. Can we get a few guys? Come here. Aye. Baby girl, you knew I was going to call you. Come. You knew I was going to call you. Come. And some guys from KQ as well. Come on board. Come on. We're going to do this real quick. Young people. Jamani, woga gani mko nayo? See, it's like you people don't know who I am, eh? You people don't know who I am. Come. Give me a hand. So you see, there's no way we're starting a youthful thing, and then we're just seated. Yeah? Why are we seated? It's like you people don't know who I am. And then you see your CEO is here. So it's not like you will refuse. Madam, come here, baby. Thank you. Come. Just come, walk with me. And the gentleman next to you, come. I know, but here we are. And all eyes are on you. Come. Macho na kuangalia, kaka nfati. Who has the song? Someone play me the song? Oh, you do? So that, wakwe ready. Mmepata? Oh, but there's a gentleman coming there.
Tuchukue hiyo pia cheze.
Nataka wana. Apo, anguka na. Dear panel, have you seen? All of you are present. Why you not? You saw that they saw. So when they say they don't know, were there witnesses to see that they saw? Thank you. So, help me up. So allow me to welcome and introduce our panel that will be angukaing now in just a few minutes. And allow me to start, because I'm very selfish. We're going to start with ladies first, right? So we'll start with our guest, Brenda Mbathi. She is a dynamic executive with extensive experience across diverse sections in Africa, currently serving as the CEO of Two Rivers International Finance and Innovation Center. Brenda leads the establishment of Kenya's first privately owned bespoke to business services special economic zone. And this business, traffic of course, aims to attract foreign direct investment into Kenya and empower businesses to access global markets competitively. A round of applause for Brenda. And of course, the next one needs no introduction. Mr. Alan Kilavuka, kindly join us. He is the KQ Group Managing Director and CEO. Would you want to sit in the middle? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you could. You can. No, that is fine. That is fine. Yeah, it's okay. And of course, finally, it's how he's holding his breath. It must be the Angukanayo thing that has just done. Have no fear. Yeah, have no fear, my friend. Have no fear. And of course, finally, we have Paul Russo, EBS. He is the Chief Executive Officer of KCB Group PLC. He is a member of the boards of KCB Group PLC, KCB Bank, Kenya National Bank of Kenya, KCB Investment Bank, KCB Foundation, BPR Bank, Rwanda PLC, and Trust Merchant Bank. He is also a member of the Kenya Bankers Association Governing Council and the Bank Industry Lobby. A round of applause for the entire team. Sorry? Which one? Well, but you see, I could also say, if you want to introduce yourself, yeah? We will give you like 2 seconds. Yes? We can give you 2 seconds to make it longer. But I like Paul. Paul was focused. He knew what he wanted to do here. Yeah? But a round of applause for the entire team, and thank you so much for joining us today. Now, we're going to do this in 2 sections, okay? So we're going to ask the first round of questions, and then after that, we're going to open it up for you. So as we're asking these first questions, and then they're responding, I would love it if you're able to formulate all these questions that you have, and feel free to ask. Again, today is not about their day, it's about you. So anything that you want to ask, feel free to ask. Today is one of those days where you have incredible panels, and all you can do is ask questions and absorb as much as you can. So we're going to start with our conversation today, and the discussion is on the challenges and opportunities of leadership today, with a focus on how young people can prepare for leadership roles. And I think that's very direct. So allow me to throw the first question to Paul. There you go. So for you, how did you first envision yourself stepping into a leadership role, and what specific challenges did you encounter on your journey? And while you're talking about that, I think it would be good if you can share with us some of those pivotal moments or experiences that contributed to your growth as a leader.
Wow. I think I paid the price for the long introduction, but I'm glad it's not Anguka now. So first, Alan, thank you for the invitation. We truly appreciate it. In many instances, many institutions see competition, so thanks for bringing us here. And I can see the green as well represented in the house. And now, and my apologies for my voice, in Homa, it's just like that, yeah? So if you're a backbencher, that's your problem. I think, let me bullet it in a way. One, everyone here has a story. Everyone you meet has a story. And many times we don't speak about those stories, but I can tell you the person that is seated next to you has a story. And at the core of that story is when they began life, whether through school into employment, they were just basically looking to make good, right? Nobody, if you ask Alan here, he tells you that he was planning to be CEO of KQ, then we have a different conversation. Because in the first instance, either we are running away from poverty because we want to make our parents better, we want to earn a better living, isn't it? You're just trying to get out of that situation. That's why I say somebody has a story. So leadership begins in that process of just fighting to get out of that situation. And then the journey and the experiences is what then makes the leader. So you're out there to try and make a way out of a difficult situation. And when I use my own example, coming out of Marsabit, I just wanted to find ways not to be eating yellow maize at that time, supplied by the Catholic Church and Moi regime at that point. Just get out. Now, you come in across experiences, people that come, your path, and you look around you and say, who else can you look up to? And I don't joke when I say I wanted to be a DO because the most senior person from Marsabit I knew was a DO. That defined my life. A district officer, You know, you guys were born in the new constitution, yeah? Dispensation where there's no political administration. That fellow that used to be in charge of a division, if you Google, it was a DO. And I was the most senior person in the community. And that, I just kind of wanted to get close to that. What is very interesting is when then for those of you, if you play golf or you have ambition to play golf, there are those guys who garagaria to the green. You just hit the ball, somehow it gets to a good position. It's called kugaragaria. I go to Mangu. And obviously, you meet people who are from different spaces. And all of a sudden, you stop your ambition of wanting to be a KCB clerk in Marsabit, you start having a different view of the world. Those are experiences. Because the guys who used to work in KCB Marsabit, they had a Land Rover, they used to get Gazzetti, and their shoes were black and clean. So that defined your life. But to try and fast track, right? Out of that is you get guys who have ambition. They wanted to be pilots in Kenya Airways. I have classmates who are pilots. Now for me, I just wanted to finish the damn thing and go somewhere, be better. I don't want to lie. Then you get to the university. And you guys can say I was not ambitious. No, I just wanted to go to where air students go. That was how I defined my life. Now the breakthrough comes in when you build relationship with human beings around you, when you collaborate, when you humble yourself to collaborate. That for me is the difference. Because all of a sudden I found people who said, Paul, you know you can go far. And one famous lady who runs Indigenous Information Network is called Lucy Mulengei. Those of you in the media would know that lady. Because she started asking me to train Samburu women who have not gone to school on debit and credit in Archer's Post. So have you ever taught in your mother tongue debit and credit to get your school fees? So I used to leave Moy University, go to Archer's Post on a weekend, train debit and credit, get my money, go back. But there lies the experience of leadership. And to try and sum it up, you then come across people who lift you up. And I always say, as a leader, you look back and say, I collaborated, but somebody lifted me up. And I have enough of them to mention. I think it's too long for us. But in the workplace, one thing that I will say is you have to take risks as you collaborate. Right? I'm one person who has worked probably in 10 countries. You know, you leave your family here. Sometimes you carry them as if they're luggage. As you pursue that, you got to take risks. But one that stands out that I think, contributed for me to be a CEO is the day I was appointed receiver manager of Chase Bank. Now, there's even no job description for a receiver manager. But I took it. I did not know what is going to happen next because my role as Group HR Director of KCB was filled up. There was somebody. But I took it, and that was the changing point. Immediately after that, National Bank came up. So me, I'm a guy who resuscitates. So I became a mortician in a way. But I found comfort in building my leadership capability in that space where I cannot predict the next. So you got to be in a space to embrace what comes your way, but most importantly, to collaborate with those who are around you. That is going to define and differentiate your career. Let me stop there. Happy to answer.
Oh, no, that was fantastic. A round of applause for that answer. It's very wholesome. Very, very wholesome. And allow me to direct my second question to Alan, if you'll allow me. In the corporate world, and there are a lot of people who are garnering to work in the corporate world, young people are often encountering significant barriers. Besides the fact that they're young, there's so many other barriers that they encounter in that process. So for you as a CEO, how are you able to personally work to identify and even dismantle some of these barriers that they face and create a very inclusive space for the young people? And this could also be a learning point even for those people who are in corporate. how would you encourage them to be able to identify and nurture the young people that they're seeing, being able to eradicate all those barriers that they're seeing at the moment?
Thank you, Cynthia. What happened? Can you hear me? Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Cynthia, for that. First of all, you know, when you started this Anguka Nayo business, I was very concerned that all my panelists were going to leave, especially Paul. Paul had already called his driver. The driver was moving his car here. So don't pull that stunt again. Otherwise, they will all leave. Secondly, I just wanted to emphasize, if before I answer that question, to emphasize something that Paul has said, which is, don't be afraid of hard work. You know, I used to have a boss one time who told me, hard work has never been known to kill anybody. In fact, it is no work that has been known to kill. So in other words, he used to tell me, you know, don't be afraid of hard work. And he says he's been a mortician. I think that is the one thing we share with him, that I have never taken a job that of a smooth running organization. I've always taken jobs with organizations, even within General Electric when I was there, organizations which are struggling or need to be grown or need to be nurtured and so on. So it's been a very interesting career for me in terms of nurturing organizations. So my one message is, don't be afraid of hard work. It sharpens you, and who knows, one day you'll be a KCB group CEO or Kenya Airways CEO because of not being afraid to take on the hard work. Sindio? Yeah, you can clap to that. Yeah. So with regard to barriers, and indeed there are very many barriers. I don't want to spend time. I actually want to hear more from you because you're the ones who experience the barriers. So, but I wanted to mention one or two, then I'd be very happy to hear what you, the youth, think are barriers to your own progress and success. So the two that come to mind is the stereotypes that you face because of your youth. I think there's a lot of stereotypes. Some people say Gen Zs are lazy. Have you heard that one? Is it true? You're saying no. You say no! Yeah, they're lazy, they're unwilling to work. Is that true? Why are you so, no energy? Say no emphatically, because it's not true, isn't it? Yeah. The other stereotype that I hear is that you're very selective in the things that you want to do. That one is true, isn't it? I think that one is true. That one is true. So there are many stereotypes. And because of those stereotypes, then you find that the youth are not given opportunities. In fact, let me confess, that is one of the reasons why we are here today. Because we want to engage and understand where are those barriers that we can be able to identify so that we are addressing them. So there are many ways to address it. So for example, in our case, it's sensitizing the leaders who are managing you, that they should understand, not stereotype, and open up avenues. You know, every time you listen to the youth, they're just those nuggets, if you really listen. And you know, for me, I have an advantage because I have youth even in my house. In fact, one is seated right here. So every time I'm not sure, he's my consultant. I ask him, you know, how should I listen more? How should I listen better? So really getting the leaders to listen better to the youth so that they avoid those stereotypes. And then challenging the youth and giving them opportunity. Recently, we've just started we've restarted, because Kenya Airways used to do this before, we've restarted a management trainee program. And the program that we've started, what we want to do is to really challenge the management trainees, because they're all very young, to do very challenging stuff. Not the mundane things that normally you would be asked to do, you know, like filing those papers on that corner, or you know, getting me coffee. Not that. Really giving them very challenging, very tough things to do, cracking real problems that we have. And maybe, do we have any MTs here? KQ MTs? Hands up. Yeah, okay. There are 15 of them, so this is just a representation of them. So really getting the youth to do the difficult stuff so that they can demonstrate their capabilities and abilities. And then, so that's the first thing. Those stereotypes that are out there in the marketplace, especially for older folk. They say all those things. The second thing that I think is another barrier is preparedness. Not being prepared. There's opportunities that are there, then you're not prepared. Either because you have the wrong education, by wrong, not really wrong, wrong is the wrong word to use. I should say, not the relevant education. So you don't have the relevant education, or you're not properly mentored. So those are the two things. So you're not prepared for opportunities that present themselves to you as a youth. So from my perspective, or from the KQ perspective, what we've done to try and address those two is, first of all, go one level lower, go to the institutions that we get supply from. So for example, you've heard Paul talk about Mangu. Mangu is one of those high schools which have a designated flying club. So we've done a few things. We do a lot of mentorship with Mangu, but lately we also gave them a mock-up. A mock-up is an aircraft that looks something like that at the back for training, for their training, so they can prepare them better when they get to us. We've done similar things with other institutions like the Technical University of Kenya and others, so that when we get supplies from those institutions, they're relevant to us. Because, you know, you can get your degree, and that's why there's a lot of frustration among the youth. They have degrees, but they're not prepared. They're educated but not prepared. So the only or the best way for us to do is to go one level lower and help prepare them for employment. And that's the one thing that we would encourage all the corporates to do. Go one level lower and make sure that you're getting the input from the youth that you need. And that way they can move faster within the ranks in the organization once they come. I also spoke about mentorship. So that we're doing a lot. We have a huge mentorship and coaching program, which is on volunteer basis, because you also have to reach out to your for volunteering, to volunteer to be mentored and to be coached. So again, that you're ready for your next role and you can move forward quickly. So I don't want to go into many other barriers. There are many barriers, but like I said, I want to hear more than talk. So I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you. A round of applause for him. So two things that I've picked up. One is relevant training, and I believe that is quite a deficit. And for me, I usually like telling the truth. And I love that you embrace the same thing. So you'll find institutions don't necessarily equip people for what is relevant at that moment. And you'll find a lot of that happening across board. So once you get people, you still have to retrain them to be able to catch up with what is happening in the world. And I'm glad that you're doing that. You've also mentioned on mentorship, and I know that's something that Brenda can speak on, right? And for you, Brenda, my question would be, what are some of the strategies, including mentorship, of course, that have been very effective for you in helping to accelerate the growth and development of youth in leadership roles?
Thank you. And let me take this opportunity to also thank Alan Chilavuka and the Kenya Airways team for this opportunity, and for also recognizing International Youth Day, because I'm not sure it's a day that we all take time to celebrate and to acknowledge and to be more inclusive of the youth in our lives, and that's the youth in our lives at home. So well done, Alan, for bringing even those who are with you at home.
A round of applause, ladies.
And for those in the workplace, and I think we deserve a round of applause because we included some of them to join us today. It's also so they can tell us where we went wrong tomorrow, believe you me. But let me also say that, as you mentioned, mentorship is a very crucial component to nurture the next generation of leaders. And a lot of companies have made this something that needs to happen, and we also have very structured programs. KCB, Paul has mentioned it, Alan has mentioned it for Kenya Airways, and indeed for myself as part of the Centum Group, they're very structured management training courses, graduate training courses, etc. These things happen in a very structured way, and they're very good. But guess what? At the core of it, these are two-way not only discussions but relationships. And sometimes I think the way that there's perhaps some misconception or misunderstandings is that it is the mentee's role to take leadership in a mentoring relationship. It is not the mentor. And have you ever considered that? It is the mentee who takes the leadership role. It is the mentee to seek out the mentor. It is those of you in your leadership management courses to say where you think things are working or they're not. It is for you to have a voice, which Alan was asking you to have when he was speaking to you earlier. And he said, where is your voice? And at times, it is this seeking permission, which actually nobody expects you to seek the permission. So we need you to be bolder, because you also have to train and nurture that generation that has gone ahead of you. Because we came out of very different education systems. What was important to us is definitely not important to you. Our dance styles were slightly different, but they were also good. Our music, slightly different, but we also hear it in the music you listen to today. You've just fine-tuned it to yourselves. And that's what we need you to do. And you need to have courage. Take courage. For Paul to be where he is today, he's telling you his personal story. Believe you me, it takes courage. Courage to have actually gone that journey. Courage to share the story. So I would really want to understand the youth more, to know that have a voice. Have a voice. And I think you've seen what happens when you have a voice. You've seen what happens when you have a collective voice. Do that in the workplace, because that will allow you to also be able to put forward your point of view. You know, Paul mentioned he was an HR practitioner at heart and what he learned, not what he is today. The jobs that are the most important today didn't even have a name 5 years ago. So when you're going to learn, the opportunities that are going to be ahead of you, that are going to be placed before you, were never even thought about when you started your tertiary education. It doesn't need to be a degree. So I think that that's very important for all of us to understand, and to understand it's not just what you need to understand, even those of us on the other side of the spectrum of millennial. So we won't say our ages, but we can angukanayo. I don't think anybody should feel we can't. But anyway, I want you to really understand that. And what I'd like to advocate is, I think when we do mentoring sessions, which can be collective, and even having a discussion here today, try and find somebody that you can have a one-on-one mentoring session. And sometimes it doesn't need to be somebody who's too much senior than you. Find a friend, a confidant. Find somebody that you admire, that you feel is successful, and just start a relationship. And starting that relationship means you need to take that step forward. And I needed to share that on mentorship, because sometimes people have a very different view that the mentorship relationship needs to be those who are maybe more senior, talking, I don't want to say down, but, you know, imparting words of wisdom. Let me tell you about words of wisdom. ChatGPT. We are all wise if you have a device. How do you tailor those words of wisdom? How do you make it work for you? So knowledge very soon will be accessible by just tapping on a device. So it's the way you use the knowledge, it's the way you use what you have, it's the way you use your unique self your value proposition. So let's try and remember that. And so as we go for mentorship, I want to say, on the other side of millennial, we don't know it all. So how can you engage and also learn from us? And definitely, we're here to learn from you.
Great. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. And as we said, this was more about you than it is about them. So they're here to mostly answer the questions and just hear from you what it is that you'd like to learn, or one of those things that you really are curious about. So where do we have our mics? We have our microphones? Great. So if you have any questions for them, they're all ready to answer your questions, whatever it is. We already have a question from here, so if you can raise your hand so that we can see where you are, and a mic will come to you. We also have a hand up there as well. Another hand somewhere? So we're going to do the first two, if you'll allow us. Go ahead.
Is it afternoon or evening? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Phoebe from Kenya Airways, Technical Department, and I have one question for each panelist. Number one, question for our beautiful CEO. Sorry, from Two Rivers.
Brenda.
I had to specify. Anyway, so Brenda, how can society better support the goals and dreams of the youth? And then a question to our CEO now from Kenya Airways.
Not the beautiful one.
What are your thoughts on mental health and well-being for young people? And then a question for our other CEO from KCB. How can different generations work together to create a better world for us, the youth? Thank you.
Okay, so you got all the questions? Thank you. So we have a second question from, oh, we have one there. Okay, go ahead.
I'm Kennedy Masibo from KCB. Just maybe an addition to what she has asked. When we were growing up, we were taught that social media doesn't forget. And that's what has been our journey. When you do anything in your academic life, in your social life, you've always checked, is it within, if it were in politics, we would have said politically correct. And is it socially or morally correct? And recently, we happened to have Gen Z, and everyone was out there expressing themselves, doing all that. Now, to our KQ CEO, Alan, you had mentioned about the barriers that people are facing, and one of them was the stereotyping. How do we then bring in what people did individually in terms of responding to what was happening when people are maybe personally facing an interview or they're looking for jobs? Will there be a backlash, or there's a way that corporates are looking at it differently to just see how better they can handle the youth?
Okay, have we gotten that? Somehow. So I think his question is, so when, I have to be careful how I'm framing this question. Yeah? It's okay, you hold it. So as an in-betweener, thank God, as an in-betweener between millennial and Gen Z, one of the things that we were told was you can't post everything online and you can't go bare online, because at the end of the day, if I'm coming to Brenda to ask for a job, they will Google me and then they will see me at the Mandamano. They'll be like, this one is going to bring trouble to this company. We can't. So his question is, at this point, how does that look like? Is there a way that it will still be used, or are we allowed to express ourselves because it's who we are? Did I get it? Oh, thank you, love. Let's go. So where do we start? Do you want to start with Alan? Do you want to start with the first set of questions?
Yeah. How come this time it was not ladies first? But okay. Right. So mental health. Actually, this is a very, very important question. Thank you for asking that question on mental health. And first, I want to start off by saying that mental health is not just young people. Of course, I'll try and tailor this answer to young people. But the mental health that the world generally is suffering from is immense. And we've seen it in Kenya Airways. Those of you who are in Kenya Airways, we've seen it's real and it's tangible. So a very important question, very relevant today question. Just to give you some statistics, we've seen mental health is mainly driven by a few things. Some are from home, so societal pressures, either relationships, particularly for young people, so boyfriend, girlfriend, or relationships within the family, not a good relationship with your parents or with your siblings. We've seen that's quite prevalent. In fact, that's actually the biggest one that we've seen in Kenya Airways, and I'm tempted to believe that it's representative of what's going on everywhere else. And then we've seen the pressures of, again, social cost of living, demands, a lot of demands that are coming, are hitting you. It's the second one. The third one is work pressure, expectations, deadlines, and so on. And then there's another one that is social pressure, so peer pressure, particularly this posting of social media. The likes, if you're not getting enough likes, or you're not getting likes from the person that you should get them from, that's causing a problem. Now, how are we addressing those? And we don't have all the answers. But the most important thing is sensitization, awareness. And those of you who are in Kenya Airways are aware that we've run many, many campaigns that, first of all, to bring to awareness, what exactly is mental health? What does it encompass? What's the range of it? Because it's quite wide. Once you understand that, is where can you get help? And we have quite a wide range of help. There's peer help. There are different groups that have help. I know the cabin crew, for example, they even have a grouping that supports them. Pilots have a separate one, and so on and so forth. And then we have employee assistance program that deals with specific mental health issues. And it's a wide range, even financial support. If you maybe have not been running your finances properly, there is help for that. If you have a psychological problem that's driven by relationships, there's help for that as well, and so on and so forth. And then once we've established that and we've developed health, we also have a wellness program. In fact, your question was mental health and wellness. We have quite a number of activities ranging from the hiking club, for instance. We have a gym for decompressing. We have swimming clubs. We have cycling clubs. This is in Kenya Airways. That's why you should always work for the good company like Kenya Airways. Yeah? We have, which other club do we have that I'm forgetting? Swimming, football, cycling. Yeah. All those ones are wellness ones. I'm a proud member of the hiking club. Who is in the hiking club? No. You are not in the hiking. No, not you. I know Vivian is, but Monique, no. Yeah, so those are the kind of activities that we have. And just checking on each other, just to make sure that we are okay. And so this is relevant for young people. I think because we as young people, when we get into these spaces, there's a lot of expectation, pressure, stereotyping. So you're getting things, you're being bombarded by so many things that are around you. And the best thing for you to do is to get a valve that you can decompress. How can you decompress? And where do you decompress? And who's listening? And so on and so forth. And then supporting each other from a mental point of view. Social media. Oh, can I answer this question that I was not understanding in the beginning? Social media. It is true, social media does not forget. You've seen how politicians are bashed because of social media. And I don't want to lie to you that social media will not impact you in the future. It will. However, you can mitigate. You can mitigate. I don't think anybody will crucify you for raising your voice. But I think people will crucify you for dancing naked on social media. Those are the things that will be frowned upon. Being ridiculous or being vulgar, those are the things that are really frowned upon. Those are the things that we look for. At least those are the things I look for. I don't think I would have a problem with someone who was, in fact, if anything, maybe those are the people we want in the workplace. The people who stand up and say, this is right and this is wrong. Because we want people who will keep us in the straight and narrow. So if you are doing the right thing, whether it is in social media or not in social media, it's okay. And you should feel proud of yourself. If you're doing the wrong thing and you know you're doing the wrong thing, that will come back to haunt you. That would be my response.
I'm hoping your question has been answered well. Okay, great. We can go over to Brenda.
Thank you. So it was about how does society, or how can society respond to the goals and dreams of the youth? So I think we can start with active listening and engagement. And again, today is a testament to that. And when I say start, I have to admit, for me, this is my first Youth Day engagement. So, you know, well done. The other thing is we've talked about education and skills development, and I think it's very important that we truly understand digital literacy. I can tell you 100%, I am behind. I am behind. I don't get all the apps that I should be on, which actually would make my life easier. And why is that? I think I'm a little scared, but again, so do you know how I get along, or how I even started ChatGPT? Youth. They just challenged me in the office. They said, well, you know, you're just too behind and taking too long to do things, so you need to, and they're sitting in the audience, so you need to organize yourself appropriately and get with the program. So you understand, we have to encourage each other, right? So today, I was in a meeting where we challenged another colleague who's younger than me, and asked, so why don't you just do it on ChatGPT? Oh no, I am determined before the end of this week, that person will be on ChatGPT, because I have to encourage them, support them, and show them how it will make their life easier, right? We need to involve you in decision making. And this is something that everybody needs to start doing. And we call it, I also sit here, I'm part of KEPSA, the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, and for a very long time we spent a lot of time looking at gender. How do we include, how are we more inclusive with the ladies? Now we need to look at the youth, and I've called it out, and we call it mainstreaming. So include it as a particular subject and focus for each sector group. So be it the sector group in banking, in energy, let's ensure there's some youth mainstreaming, that they have a voice, that they're included, that they're at the table. We need to have safe and inclusive spaces. We need to make sure that the youth feel safe to have a voice. We need to come to spaces. So I have been at a Kenya Airways event, and it wasn't set up like this. So I believe those who were looking at the setup were trying to do it in a way that would make the youth feel comfortable. Again, I hope you give feedback. Yes, this works. No, it doesn't, you know. And let's see that. We need to celebrate your achievements. So I think time needs to be taken to celebrate achievements that are important for the youth. Civic engagement and social responsibility. Activism is good. And I think it needs to be done in a way that brings good. So maybe there's times you go overboard, which makes those on the, you called us in-betweeners. What happens to those who are not in between but over? You're over us. I refuse. I refuse. Almost but not. Okay, the almost but not. So we need to see how activism can be embraced. And I have to tell you, whether we say it or not, we are proud of the activism. Well done for having the voice. And then innovation. Let's all be open to change. Because you know what? I'm the over whatever you call me. In a very few years' time, you'll also be sitting here as over whatever, right?
Yes.
So also open your hearts and be open to this innovation as it comes. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Round of applause for answer. And now over to Paul.
So I'm analog. So I'm one of those guys who are not in ChatGPT. I have my notebook here. I have to scribble, and I'm in a tie. Because, I keep telling these gentlemen, they are owners of capital and managers of capital. So some of us are managers of capital. But I digress. I think I just want to start with an example. So sometime 1999, if I'm not wrong. Typical, I'm sure all of you would have done that. We visited as university students, we visited breweries. Yeah? And I think we're third-year university students. And Brenda will remember they used to have a bad name for the place, but it was called a restroom. Restroom in breweries was just 5 o'clock, it's open bar. So you can imagine if you take university students to breweries for a tour, then you invite them to open bar. But actually, that was one of my biggest milestone and turning points. Because I met a brewer, much elderly, called Bernard Mureithi. And as we had that conversation and he got to know me, the guy said two things to me. One, you go back, finish your school, do well, and make sure you look out for management trainee positions in Unilever. He told me a number of KQ and, Stan Chatty also used to have good program, right? And we shook hands and we left. A year and a half later, I was a graduate trainee in breweries. But most importantly, I retained relationship with this mzee. We are in the same chama today. He's 67 years old. And I've learned a lot from them. Back to the question. The question was about how generations can work together. It's very important to ensure that, in my view, that those who, what was the name, Brenda, again? In between those who go, in between
us, forget-me-notters. I don't know, they've got
right?
lots of things they're calling us.
That we remind those people that they have a responsibility to lift others. Because if we went around and checked with Alan and everybody else here, they are where they are because somebody gave them a shoulder to stand. So we have a responsibility to do exactly that. The second point is those of us who have responsibility on organizations, we must be intentional in building inclusive organization. And Alan has just highlighted that some of the things that is done in Kenya Airways and what you guys do. Those of us in positions of responsibility must put in policies that support and build that work environment. But most important, and I think we misuse this word called engagement, but we must create forums and positions and opportunities for individuals to be themselves and to express themselves. Right? If we don't value diversity, giving people to express the opportunity to express themselves, then they cannot be masters of their destiny. So if you want to constrain people because to be roles, let me tell you, one of the most boring jobs sometimes, and sorry if my team is here, if you think about a teller in a bank, right? If you think about a teller in a bank, you can write a job description with 3 sentences. 1, open the till and receive money or pay out money, smile and give leads. But it's the responsibility of the leader to make jobs meaningful. And Gen Z and yourselves and everybody else, you get bored very fast. That's another fallacy of generalization. Right? So if you don't make those jobs meaningful, then they will lose connection. And the only thing that is going to make a difference in an organization is the quality of leadership that you have in that organization. So I've answered you a long way, but if I was to give you one answer, we must take interest in the people that are in the leadership in the organization if we are going to make intergenerational work environment to be right. Finally, you've got to be, as a leader, you must set up standards that if anybody deviates from those standards, there are direct consequences to it. And I know people don't like this. But if you're going to harass young people, if you're going to make certain demands of young people, if you're going to bring tribalism in the process of work and so forth, or you call it ethnicity to massage it. If you're going to introduce that, then the leader must call it out. Because the thing about young people, they know a lot, they watch a lot, and they just let it happen. And then, I saw Peter, one of our comms guys, then the next thing is they deal with you through social media. Because you did not pick it up as a leader or you did not take action. So yes, there is opportunity for us to work together. And you can see how the whole questions are interconnected. Because if there is no good intergenerational work, mental health checks in. Isn't it? Career growth in terms of mentorship is dwarfed. There's a lot of interlinkage. But at the end of the day, the buck stops at the door of the leader.
That's a cue to clap. Thank you very much. So we still have, I know one of us had a question. You want to go ahead with it? Another round of questions? Anyone else with, great. So we have one question from there. We have another question there. We have one question there. Anybody else? You're smart. You knew I was going to come. You're very smart. Then we have two more questions on that end. So I know because we have a second panel coming, so this is going to be my request between the questions and my panelists. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to try very much to give an example, if it is necessary, and then get to the question, or just ask the question directly, and then from our panels, if we can make it as wholesome and direct as possible, so that we can get through the questions and make it a bit more engaging, and then we're able to move faster. Go ahead, Ms. Kithenji.
All right, thank you very much. Hi, everyone. My name is Miss Betty Kithenji. I represent the top online media in Kenya right now called Embark. So I am a digital journalist. Besides that, I am a talent consultant and a corporate MC. I am a product of digital. You said I give an example. No, it's my time. Okay, let's talk. I am a product of digital media. I did journalism 10 years ago before I got a chance. Someone who wanted to give me a chance to actually be on camera. I had given up because I thought maybe I'm not good enough. Well, maybe I wasn't at the time. But I got a chance to be in the future because I believe digital media is the future. So I would like to commend KQ today for just organizing this dialogue where we can have a conversation. You get to learn from us. We learn from you. I am not a Gen Z, by the way. I am a whole millennial. People keep saying I'm a Gen Z. But anyway, so I would like to commend you guys for doing this today. It means you're not only connecting us to the world, you're also just bringing us together to exchange ideas and just be great at what we do. So thank you very much for that. My questions, I have two questions. One would be probably from Paul and Alan and Paul. What is that one lesson that you wish what was taught in school that life has taught you? And my next question would go to Brenda. As a lady in leadership, what are the ways that you use to navigate the biases that come with you being a woman, the stereotype, because I know for sure when you were starting off, maybe it wasn't the way it is right now. So I would want to know what are some of the ways you used to navigate that and the lessons we could take home for people or the youths that are willing to get into leadership as women as well. Thank you very much. I'm definitely looking forward for, you know, potential collaborations with KQ and any other stakeholder that is here in the coming future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Kithenji. On to a second question. You have it? Go ahead.
How are you? Naisola Kantai from Kenya Airways. As a millennial, there's one thing I've been wondering since you've said above. There's a problem you're having with us millennials and the youth about alcohol abuse. So what is each company doing to help all of us, being millennials and youth, to tackle the issue of alcohol and drug abuse?
Thank you very much. Third question. Thank you.
I'm Henry Obunde. I'm an advocate. I run my own firm called Ken, Daniel and Henry Advocates. My question to the three of you is, it's one question that each of you can give an answer in their own way. But your communication to us today has been tailored towards employment or opportunities that you're providing to the youth in your companies. Mine today is many youth, as you heard from Ms. Kithenji, there are many youth who are now looking towards going into business rather than going into employment. So for the government, for example, they offer opportunities through AGPO, through reserving certain things in terms of business for youth. My question now relates to a statement that Mr. Russo has made in terms of making policy to make sure that your organizations are inclusive. Are there any particular policies for each of your three companies where certain opportunities in terms of business and should not be, let's say, there is this tendency to normally just say it is tech. For example, something to do with computers, that one we can throw to the youth. But are there other things, are there other important things, whether it is in HR or in law or in other forms of things which you consider important and integral to your business, which you have given an opportunity to youth in terms of business, in terms of, obviously you want value for your money, but at this time, some of these things, it might take 20 years to get to the point where you are interacting at the same level as you. So do you have similar programs where certain business opportunities, collaboration opportunities are a percentage for youth? Maybe women, maybe persons with disabilities, doesn't have to be youth only. But that is a way to get us on the table in terms of...
Gen Z.
Yes, mimi ni Gen Z. I'm actually 27.
Fanya hiyo rewind selector. Uliza hiyo swali kama chat GPT. Straight to the point.
Yeah, ni hivyo. That is the question. The question is, the way government has AGPO, vitu zimekuwa reserved for youth. Does KCB have something like that? Does KQ have something like that? Does Traffic have something like that? And not in terms of employment, because youth are interacting with you in many ways, not only employment. Thank you.
And so the answer shall also come like chat GPT and Gen Z. Brenda, you want to start? You were ready. You were so ready.
I think I am. So just thank you. It's a pleasure to meet Ms. Kithenji, who's doing her work in social media, and not social media, digital media, sorry for that, and stated, you know, she did journalism. Do you see how it's changed? Because that was journalism many years ago, so now it's digital media, very important. How do you succeed as a lady? I would say that I try very hard not to use that stereotype myself and just think of myself as a person, but there are definitely biases, unconscious or not. We can start with being deemed as ladies as being too emotional. But I would say we have emotional intelligence. So we show our empathy more, we just need to do things in a way that showcase it's not because we're ladies, but you are maybe more empathetic and you can bring that to the workplace, which actually helps the workplace. divergence of views is very important. Lacking authority. So how are you perceived and how do you get things done so people don't see that it's not always about banging the table and shouting and screaming. Women are sometimes deemed to lack authority. And sometimes to show authority we may overcompensate. So again, being very careful about that and just doing the work. I have to say, it was stated earlier, I think by Alan, we need to work hard. Because I think it's your work that will showcase your ability, not your gender per se. And I have to say that even now when we look at it in terms of the youth versus those who may be a little older, hard work never killed anyone, and we all need to work hard to achieve. The other things that could be is that women focus a lot on family, but I think I've sat here today with colleagues or with other CEOs who've also talked to you about their family in a different way. And I think family is important to everybody, not just to the ladies. We all play different roles and it all comes in at different times. And I think we've seen in different workplaces the way that maternity leave is handled. But I'd have to tell you, I've been in the workplace where I have advocated for more paternity leave, because I think that even the fathers need adequate leave at this time to support the family. They say women are not natural leaders. Look at yourself, Ms. Githinji. You are a leader. And who is the person who is going to determine who is a leader and who is not? Have that confidence. To those who say you cannot do it, you can. So I could go on because that would have to be a whole separate discussion and another day. But I want to say to the young ladies and to all ladies, don't be judged on people's unconscious bias of yourselves. Stand up, have the courage, be confident. Thank you.
Let me try and be ChatGPT answers. The question was, what is the one thing that life has taught me that I was not taught in school, that has helped me in my career, in my life? I was going to steal what Paul was talking about. You know, Paul has talked about relationships over and over and over. That is very key. But maybe I should take it a step higher and talk about authenticity, being real. You know, the beauty about being real is that it's not hard work. It's just being vulnerable. Being vulnerable, you're a human being. In fact, the opposite is true. If you're not authentic, you have to have 2 faces or 3 faces, depending on who you're talking to or who you're engaging with. If you're authentic, it is easier to lead because people trust you more. So the one thing that I would say is be real, be authentic, be yourself. I don't think young people struggle with that a lot. I think we teach them not to be as they, get into careers and as they become older. So I hope that was ChatGPT. Alcohol abuse, alcohol abuse, drug abuse. Okay, so on this one, it is actually linked for the most part. Sometimes it's just lack of self-control, but sometimes it is linked with mental health, and people use that as a way of escape. So we have a program in KC.
That was swiftly moving.
I want to go where the money is.
We didn't know.
Yeah. So in Kenya Airways, we really, this is an area of focus, but because again, it is, we've seen this being an aftermath of mental health issues. So we have the Employee Assistance Program, which specifically talks to drug abuse, alcohol abuse. And we have a rehabilitation system. So if you have this, because it's a sickness for the most part, especially if you are addicted, it becomes a sickness, so we address it like that. And that's what we do. And then the next one is opportunities that we as Kenya Airways give to the youth from a business point of view. We do have actually, we set up something in 2021 called Fahari Innovation Hub. So Fahari Innovation Hub is the first innovation hub of an airline in Africa. And so far, I think there are only two. I think there's only Kenya Airways and Egypt Air. We're the only two airlines in Africa which has an innovation hub. The idea there being to tap into new ideas and then convert them into opportunities and eventually business opportunities. Why is this relevant? First of all, because most ideas anyway are coming from the youth within the organization. Good ideas. But we also did a second thing. We decided to partner with small and medium-sized organizations, because most times you want the idea to develop to a point where we can implement easier. Because if you bring it within a large organization like Kenya Airways, sometimes it becomes clunky. It becomes difficult because of the bureaucracy within the organization. So we take it out of the organization, have it run separately, and then developed up to a stage where we can easily implement. I can give you one example. So we had a youth. He's definitely younger than 35, who had a fantastic idea but did not have capital and did not have opportunities for marketing opportunities. So his idea was to convert plastic waste to diesel. And then so we saw that was a natural fit for us, because we have a lot of ground machinery which we could use the diesel for. So what we decided to do is to give him space within organization in our main, we call it base. We built the whole unit for him, recycling unit for him. And so all he needs to do is to bring the plastic, then he processes the plastic, and then he produces what is called pyrodiesel. So that pyrodiesel, we are going to be using it for our generators and for our ground equipment. And it benefits us because it is cheaper and it's cleaner. And of course, we are also cleaning the environment because we are removing plastic waste from the organization. But we are the first people. After we have proved the pilot, then we will help him to market it to other organizations. So he benefits because now his idea has come to fruition, because now he's in business. Then we also benefit because we take a portion of the equity in that company, and when we market and sell, we also will be making money. So that's how we are partnering. That's one idea. We've done one for roaming. It's called Roam Buddy, and many other ideas that we are developing in our innovation hub. So that's how we are helping.
And then
so I'll try to be quick. If there is a subject that I would like, I wish I was taught, is a subject called collaboration. See, the problem is we were taught to be number one, number two. In Mangu, there was something called PID. If you are not in the top 10 to walk around, to go around, those of you went there, right? So it just breeds competition. And no wonder those guys who are not in those top 10 are actually better human beings. Those guys who played more football, more rugby, more hiking, right, turned out to be more balanced because you've wired people to just compete. And I think that's an issue. The other one that I wish it was taught differently is communication. I think everywhere we are taught communication 101. You then went to the university, you found the same communication 101. But then you come out in knowing not how to communicate with human beings and everybody else. It's like you're going to ground one. How I wish that communication course was more relevant for the real life. In terms of, just to touch on substance abuse, I guess at the end of the day, if you have a responsibility to lead human beings at any level, you can actually pick out signals that somebody is getting out of the way. And how you make that your personal responsibility to pick out those signals and the person can get help early enough is the only way we can address that. What we tend to do is to see it as fashionable that the person is going out every single day. Yeah, I don't mind if you go out every single day. But I can assure you that it's going to be disaster downstream, isn't it? So how do you pick, what are those signals? And we need to help our managers to be able to, without intruding. No, I'm not asking managers go and say, oh, jana ulipitia wapi, ulipitia ka. No. But there are enough early signals that we can use to help people, genuinely. And I think Alan also did mention, when you're authentic in the way you want to help, people will respond positively to it. And I think just I mean, there are a number of examples I'll give. One of the, I know this might sound a little bit because people are told to go and look for work elsewhere. But one of the things that we've done extremely well as KCB is on the program of Tujiajiri. Every single year we roll out at least 10,000 youths, one trained for whichever area they're interested in, whether it's barber, mechanical, electrical. We take you for attachments and through, one of the TVETs, and you go through that process. We also give you tools to establish, and we give you initial seed capital. The problem is a few of them will go and sell those equipments, but it's okay. Out of 10,000, I'm sure 8,000 will make life. I think the last time when they graduated, I don't know, Peter, one that we did in Kasarani, we had one lady who is now employing 20 in Machakos as a result of that. Yeah. And she runs an electrical workshop. The other bit is what we talk. You must have seen some flyers on Flame, female-led and managed enterprises. Product that is just for women. Sorry, guys. I don't think you pay well. But I'm saying we've got a product that now runs across the 7 markets that we operate in, just to support female-led and managed enterprises. It has one of the best repayment rate. Let me say this side, south of Sahara, north of Limpopo. The lowest impairment, the lowest NPL of any of the products, but yet very thriving businesses, right? Now, particularly if you come to youths, and I was just starting with billionaire. I hope he'll have his chance to
He's about to come on.
He's about to come on. Because if we do not support young people to commercialize the way Alan has said, it's good to have an idea, but we don't help them to commercialize those ideas. The next thing you're dealing with is depression and mental health issues, right? And then, while we all agree that it's okay to anguka now, then it goes overboard because there's no control in it at the end of the day, isn't it? So, and it's not one organization that is going to be a solution for this country, for youth. It's going to take every single organization to show up. And we must learn not to compete. We must learn to come together as corporates to make a meaningful change in the country. Because at the end of the day, we need to pool resources, make them meaningful, scalable, isn't it? But I think at the end of the day, in the past, just like schools, we were taught to compete. Now you can be number 1, but you are lying in Langata Cemetery. You're all dead. Because one of the things that this country is struggling with is having any new corporate. And Alan here is a finance person. You tell me when we got a new corporate. So we must go back and lift micro SMEs up without competition. And that for me, it's not a one organization thing. And this is actually exactly a true example of what Alan has said. Instead of him sitting here with consultants, he said, kuja wachana na bank, umehesabu pesa ya kutosha, come and talk to the youth. We've got to do more of this. Thank you.
A round of applause. I don't think I could have asked for this session to end any other way. And I know we're going to have another session, but because we have one more pending session coming with where we have Billionaire, we have Eugene, who will answer a lot more of your questions. So we're going to step down for a minute. And as I do that, you know, these people thought I was joking, yeah? DJ fanya ile kitu. It's like they take me, like I can't do this. DJ, hebu nifanyie ile kitu haraka haraka. Haraka haraka tu tukifanya ile kitu. Haraka haraka. Kuja uwaonyeshe waanguke nayo hapa. Watu wameketi, wamechoka. Tunaomba tu kuanguka nayo, hata tuwashawekea beats. Haraka haraka. Cheza kama Gen Z, cheza kama Gen Z Zwiri. Cheza kama Gen Z. Kuja. Haya, twende. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. A round of applause for the panel. You can have your seats. Yes, thank you so much. And we look forward to the second panel. Wacha nikurudishie mikrofoni yako. Asante sana. Alafu nishike mkono.
Let's clap for them. One more time, wonderful. Wow. So it's so hard to come up here again, but don't worry. I know I don't want to be the person standing between you and what? And the rains or the sunshine, or it's a sunset. So we'll have another panel, and I'm going to be very quick. So I just want to introduce our panelists here, and I'm so glad that one person I was really waiting for is already here. So as you know, I'd mentioned that a few amazing and very interesting young men have joined us for this panel. So this next person, he is one of the panelists. He's the founder and CEO of DNR Studios. He's going to tell us what that means. He's also known as Young Rich Television. And he has gone on to create and produce television shows across the country. For most of you who are very keen, you must have seen billboards and maybe a very popular show called. He's going to tell us that much about that. Then he has recently been announced as the executive producer of Nairobi's version of NBC Universal's global franchise of The Real Housewives of Nairobi. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Eugene Mbogwa. Karibu sana Eugene, please have your seat. The next gentleman, we don't have a very long bio because he's going to tell us all about that. And he asked that, we'll spare some time because he has done a lot in his field of, of legal advice. So this next speaker or panelist, he's an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. He's currently practicing as a partner in the firm of Odongo Okal and CEO Advocates, much like maybe the real life Suits. For those of you who watched that series on Fox or on NBC. So let's welcome Mr. Solomon Mukwana. Ladies and gentlemen, let's clap for him. Then this next panelist needs no introduction. I've been told that all of you know him, but I will just introduce him anyway because it's the best thing to do. He's the CEO and founder of Cycle Africa Bikes and Events, a company that significantly impacted the cycling industry across Africa. So maybe for the joyriders, do we have joyriders here today? Do we have joyriders here today? KQ riders, I'm being corrected. Okay, do we have KQ riders? Yeah, okay, so this next panelist, he founded that company that's really impacting the cycling industry across Africa under his very visionary leadership. So his strategic approach has driven industry consolidation, leveraging his expertise in sales and marketing to innovate digital campaigns and create a successful business. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Maxon Mukaria Mwenda. All right. Yeah. Oh, AKA Billionaire, by the way. He's called Billionaire. And since there's no introduction for me, I think I'm just going to have my seat. Oh, did you have one prepared for me, Cynthia? Okay. You had better do that. For the gram, very active on Instagram and Pinterest. So, all right, so thank you so much, gentlemen, for being on stage with us. And like I said, this conversation is for all of us, so I want to make it as engaging, probably more than engaging as Cynthia's, and we'll have better dances, I hope. So, and this is pretty much about investment opportunities for the youth, pretty much about the innovation and the trends that are facing or that are shaping the future. So I just want to go to the first question. So Eugene, this question is for you. And by the way, this is how I want us to run this session. So once they answer, so please feel free to chip in. So we just make it a very worldwide conversation. So Eugene, karibu sana. How are you doing? Your mic is on. Uko salama?
Is it on now?
Yes.
I'm very good. How are you today?
Very well. Nice seeing you today. All right. So you're in the business of you're in the showbiz business. To put it that way. And there are lots of investment opportunities in that space, as we've been seeing. So I just want you to tell us, how can we bridge the gap in access to capital and investment opportunities for us as young people who are interested in entrepreneurship and investment?
Yeah. So thank you very much. This is a very difficult panel to follow, but thank you for having us. My name is Eugene Mbogwa, and I run a company called DNR Studios. We work in media and television. We produce a ton of TV shows, as you heard before. So we have shows like, our first show was actually a financial show called Young Rich, where we used to profile young Kenyan entrepreneurs. We've gone ahead to produce about slightly over 20 TV shows across all the different channels, mostly around the documentary and reality formats. Some of our shows are Get in the Kitchen with Monique Magaria, Foods of Kenya, Story Yango, Perfect Wedding. I think we are mostly now known for the celebrity reality shows. So Soul Family with Sauti Soul, This Love with Ohu and Nameless, Real Houses of Nairobi now. And I started this business when I was about 20. And you know, the challenge of finding capital for every entrepreneur, especially when you're young, is real. These days you have several options. You know, you've got incubators and programs like what KCB and KQ mentioned earlier. But the reality of it also is when you're starting out, especially when you're young and you have no proven track record, you're dependent on three things, which is friends, family, and fools. The last one is usually interesting because it's people who don't know any better than to trust you. And usually you'll find that as you go along and you've then built something that's worth presenting to a bank, for instance, or you've built a bit of collateral, then you do get some help. But the reality of the matter is at the beginning, you'll probably have to put in a lot of your own time, which is what counts as capital. Interestingly for me, when I began the company, my first two investors were actually the parents of my friends. I always make a joke and say that everybody needs rich parents. Nobody said they have to be yours. So what I did is I actually went and pitched. I went to USIU, and a lot of the kids there were a bit well off. And so I went and pitched two of my friends, who then took me to their parents, and I pitched to them. So the truth of the matter is, again, we're living in a country we live in, and the situation we're in is, at the beginning, a lot of the capital has to be found in innovative ways. It's friends, family, and fools. It's starting out with concepts that don't need that much capital. And as you go along and sort of build a name and a reputation for delivery, then it becomes easier to access it from more formal grounds like banks.
But very, very interesting. So, and this conversation, just to give another preamble, is that, you know, so we're also speaking about how we, the youth, are leveraging on technology and related investment opportunities, and also the future proofing of our investments and securing our financial future amidst challenging economic times like we are currently, right? So, and also monetization of talent. You know, most of us here are probably on socials and maybe YouTube, and that's where you're more active. And, you know, we're monetizing these channels, right? And the role of personal development in enhancing this talent. So I'm going to have Billionaire come in. So as you've heard, he has lots of money and lots of ideas probably, of course. So Maxwell Mokaria, tell us, so in the face of economical challenges, what strategies or investment vehicles do you recommend for young individuals to future-proof their investments and secure their financial future?
Hi everyone. Again, I want to say thank you for inviting us here. The question of future-proofing your investments. First of all, I think as young people, we have this challenge of investing. We're saying you're coming from a point where you think there is already money to be invested, but we need to go some steps back. If we are real with ourselves here, people who are working in KQ, who has $1 million bob right now to invest? So we need to go some steps back to how do you get that money first of all to invest? And again, as Eugene is saying, when you start from scratch. Again, Psychological Group started when I was in campus. Like when I joined first year is when I started the business. And from there it was struggle and struggle and struggle. Because you go to a bank, KCB has been my bank from then, and they tell you, yes, we know you have a business, but your financials are not looking good. So go work harder, come back. So over years you put in that sweat equity until when it tickles to the bank coming to support you. And this is where I would like to talk to most of us here. If, a friend here said that we are talking more about employment. And me here today, I'll talk more about business because I've never applied for a job. From when I started, I knew I want to be in business. And with this, I would encourage, if you want to start a business, that would be the best place to start. Future-proofing your investment, you have to invest in yourself first. Because seriously, the best investment you can make in your, let's say in your 20s and 30s, is really investing in yourself. Because, as they say, if KCB decides today to give us $1 million each, I'm sure in a couple of years, money will be with some people and others won't have it. Meaning, it's you first. You invest heavily in yourself. Educate yourself. Because we say, like in business again, we say we have two challenges. When you're coming up, you have two challenges. One is a knowledge problem, and the second is the action problem. It's either you don't know what to do, and that is what is keeping you where you are, or you know what to do, but you're not putting enough action in doing that. I'm mentoring some, I won't say young because I'm young. I'm mentoring some people who are in campus and started their businesses. And the problem I have with them is those two major things. Either they don't know what to do, the next steps in their business, or again, they're trying to work on their business as if they are part-time things. Whereas you need to double down on that thing that you're doing. Sorry, I'm taking a lot of time, but on this point, in my business, when I started a couple of businesses at the same time. I had 5 companies. And over time, I struggled to divide myself in those 5 companies, and eventually I came to realize I'm not going anywhere. So I had to decide. We call it killing your darlings. I wrote all of them on a paper and decided which one do I want to go with. It was painful to leave some really interesting businesses I had, but I had to decide on one. And then sleep, eat, drink. You wake me, I dream and write my dreams about my business. Today I wake up in the morning and called my website developer and told him I've dreamt the website page should be this, and he always asks me, why do you dream about business? Because I'm super focused on one thing. And that's what I think, to guard your investments, invest heavily in yourself. Choose one thing and go all in, if you're in business, that is. In employment, I'm sorry, I don't.
Thank you, billionaire. So keep on to take, and he raised a very important point, is that sometimes you just need to narrow down. Sometimes maybe it's to passion, maybe it's to available resources, but sometimes you also want to be a master of one, other than being a jack of all trades. Mr. Wakili, uko salama?
Niko salama.
Let me give a very short story. I have a lawyer friend of mine, and for those of you who watch Suits, the show, perfect. So, and I kept thinking that that's how Kenyan law courts are, but I was told they're not as dramatic because it's a show, and number 2, because the stenographer, the person who takes the notes, you need to speak very slowly, otherwise you may lose the case because some details just, disappear in the air. Is that really the case? Can you tell us?
That is the case. And before I start, let me just say that it is a pleasure to be here amongst this group today. And thank you for the kind profiling. We are just starting the career, but we believe that, or rather, I believe that it is always the size of the fight in the dog that matters, and not the size of the dog in the fight. So being in this profession, when you are in court and you are speaking, pause, look at whether the magistrate is writing. If the magistrate is not writing, raise the issue. Secondly, you need to speak very slowly so that the magistrate or the person presiding over the court can take note of everything that you are saying. And if they are not writing, there are only 2 things that are happening there. You are saying nothing, or you do not have the impetus to represent your client in a manner that is supposed to, because as advocates, our clients' interests come first. And if the interests come first, you have to make sure that you are doing everything in your power to make sure that you win the case. Just stay within the law, be sharp, and be focused.
All right, thank you for that. I think for the next sessions, I can lower my expectation. Yes, let's come for him. Perfect. That's very well answered. So, Wakili, I just want to pick up on a question, but that has come from what Eugene and Billionaire has just have just talked about. It's about personal development, but also just to give us. I said the reason why your bio was very short because you have a lot to say in this question, so we can also get to know about you and your law firm and so on and so forth. So, can you share insights or success stories on how you have effectively monetized your talents, and what role does personal development play in enhancing your talent or any other person's talent for investment purposes?
Thank you very much for the question. First of all, when I was in high school, I realized that I can really put my points forward clearly in a manner that can be understood. So one afternoon, we are doing a double chemistry lesson, and we were being taught about covalent bonds. So the teacher presiding over the session asks a question in line with the topic of the day. So I raise my hand and I answer the question. Then the teacher asks me, "Will you want to be a lawyer one day?" Then I paused. I had never thought about it. But back at home, my late dad used to tell me that you can make a good lawyer. So at that moment, I reflected and I said, this is the way to go. So I'm 28 years old, and I completed my Kenya School of Law in 2023. So I was admitted to the bar in 2023. However, when I made the decision to go and do law at Kenyatta University, I knew that this is a profession that appreciates experience. So I realized that I have a talent in speaking. So I said, how can I beat this experience thing? Because immediately you are done in school, you go for an interview and you're asked for job experience. So 4 years, 3 years, 5 years. But knowing what you have, you know you can really make it as soon as possible. So when I got to second year, I identified a law firm and I started going there. I was not being paid. So every time we would go for a long holiday, I would work at that law firm pro bono or free. So at the back of my mind, I knew that I will need to know what is happening for me to be able to venture into whatever I want to do. So second year came, I worked at a law firm where I was not being paid, went back to school. Third year, I had a bit of some legal practice in a law firm, so I decided, let me look for a corporate place. So I made an application for internship at the National Hospital Insurance Fund. And by God's grace and hard work, I got the internship. So again, I was at the National Hospital Insurance Fund for 6 months. Again, I was not being paid. I was volunteering to work. So during my second year, I've seen how a law firm works. During my third year, I've seen how the corporate industry works, because at NHIF, you will only do corporate things. After that, I went back to school, focused on our fourth year. It is really vigorous, and it requires so much time and so much effort. So I completed school, that is degree. Then I went to the Kenya School of Law. So when I was at the Kenya School of Law, there is this program called pupillage that is usually offered. So before I even got to that program being offered, COVID-19 was a blessing in disguise. All our lessons were online classes. And unfortunately at that time, my dad was also very sick, so I had to find a way of balancing the two. So I attend the online classes. I am attending to my dad at Nairobi Hospital, and I'm working 3 things. So I worked throughout my Kenya School of Law. So I had to balance things, because I knew at the end of the day, when I finish this Kenya School of Law and I make an application for a job, I will be asked for the minimum of 3 years starting as an associate. So I balanced the things. I seized the moment. I appreciated the blessing in disguise that COVID-19 had offered. So I would be in the ward with my dad, but I will attend classes. I will just attend classes online, do my work, do my assignments, submit. And I used to work 4 days out of 5 days in a week, with the exception of Tuesday. So the other times I'm in the office when the classes start. I just take my time, I attend to the classes, I organize myself, and I deliver. So I finished Kenya School of Law last year in June. So we are getting into the market. This place where I was working tells me, we can give you an offer. I asked how much. You know, that question that you ask. At the end of the day, the money bit comes in mind and you want to know whether you'll be appreciated. But I came to realize that that is not the way to do it. You just become the best at what you do. then money will come. When you know what you're doing, money will follow you. So these guys gave me an offer. I worked as an associate there. But after working there for 5 months, I said, this is not it for me. Because I started thinking ahead. What lies ahead? Where do I want to go? At the back of my mind, I don't work well within restricted areas. I want to explore my mind. I want to give my views on things. I want to really contribute. So I sat down and told myself, when I get an opportunity to get into a partnership, I am running with it, because in a partnership, I will be able, number one, to be my own boss, and number two, my contributions will be valued. I just have to find people who will appreciate that. So I'm still working at this particular firm, a mid-sized law firm, doing my best there. But at the back of my mind, I'm telling God, if I get this opportunity to become my own boss, or rather be a partner in a firm, because I did not have enough resources to start my own firm, so God help me, I'm running away with it. So one day, I went to attend to a matter in Kisumu Law Courts. So as I was attending to this matter in Kisumu Law Courts, it was a succession matter. The family is abroad, their properties in Kenya, so you have to do a few things to make sure that their interests are well taken care of. And in the space of working on that, I met someone. This person looked so much advanced in age. You could tell that they were admitted to the bar many years back. But now this person tells me they just come to court to look at how the court works, because they have been in the NGO world for so long. He has been in the NGO world for so long, and he would like to try practice. So at that particular point, I'm like, let me make contact, let me get to know him. So I get to know him, we talk. Then he tells me that the wife also is an advocate, but they have never practiced. So they have been doing corporate work, but now they want to practice. So I told them I'm in the practice field, and we can be in touch. I don't have a card right now, but I can give you my contacts. So I gave them my contacts. So when I got back to Nairobi, that was towards the end of last year, around November, they give me a call and they tell me that they would like to try this partnership thing. They did not say a partnership, but they said, we would like to work with you. So I said, there is no harm in going to check out what this is. And like my mantra says, it is not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog that matters. It doesn't matter whether they have so many years of experience. With whatever I have, I will seize the opportunity and run with it. So I go there and they tell me that, the wife tells me that she wants to get into a partnership with me, whether I'm interested. I told her I am interested and we can work on something towards finalizing that arrangement. So she asks me, when were you admitted? I tell her it was just 6 months earlier, because it was in June. So I tell her I was admitted in June. So that is towards December. So I tell her I was admitted in June. She was like, what? June? Then at that point, I said, there is no harm in being truthful and saying what is in your heart and what is, rather than what ought to be, because at that point they would like maybe to have someone who has been in the industry for so long. So the husband says, but I saw you arguing that case in court. No. You couldn't have been admitted in June. That is a lie. Show us your practicing certificate. I showed them my admission certificate instead, and I told them, I'm still a newly admitted advocate, and this is what I have right now. So I was admitted in June, and this shows that I was admitted in June. No. That you don't look like someone who was admitted in June. So I said, maybe my good luck went ahead, and God was with me in that particular moment. So I told her, let's do this. Let's do an agreement for 6 months. Partnership, 6 months. We see what comes out of it. If we are good to go, we shall move on. But if you find it, the arrangement not suitable for you, then we shall put an exit clause in that agreement that will be favorable to both of us. Let's take it as a probation. Let's go 6 months. So in December, I have...
And I know the next part is going to be part of a question we're going to ask you.
Yeah.
So do not preempt your very interesting story,
Yeah.
because there's a question right there for that.
Yeah.
Which you want to continue with the story, guys, right? Yes, so just hold it there.
Okay.
So you've had his story, right? If, sticking to the guns was a person, that's him, right? Let's clap for him. Perfect. So this next question starts to you, but let me give you a breather so we can go to Eugene. So at this point now, we are on to our level 2, which I call Sasa Wame Make It. You've had their stories, right? So one is a producer, he's done amazing shows. The other one is a lawyer, he's a partner, so at Okal and Company Advocate. Then the other one is a billionaire. Isn't it Kenya shillings or USD? I'd better come correct. USD. Okay, you heard it. So, and by the way, I'm not going to argue with that. So the question is, Eugene, this is the question. So to make it in a nice way, because I want all of us to understand this question. So, there are lots of risks, associated with entrepreneurship. And, as young entrepreneurs, as young people, we get confused on, if I start my own show, if I start my own company. So what do I need to, how can I mitigate some of these risks? And again, niliambiwa answers ziko za ChatGPT. Ndio tuwapatie forum ya kuuliza Q&A. Eugene ako hapa, billionaire ako hapa, wakili ako hapa, shauri yenu. Aya, let's go Eugene.
Thank you. I think generally getting into entrepreneurship is accepting to deal with risk. The reality of the matter is the majority of the businesses that are set up do fail, and this is just the truth of the matter. However, I think it's more about to do with the spirit and how you think about it. How I deal with it is the first step is to always embrace risk, to understand that that's part of the process, and I think there's a book called Go Forward Afraid. Like, still be afraid, but still do, because then ideally the ones who succeed really well. Another thing that I usually also help in terms of just dealing with risk is seeking mentorship. Because usually, and it goes also with the third point, seeking mentorship and staying teachable. Reason for this is because almost a lot of troubles that you will face when you get into entrepreneurship have been faced by someone else. And they've probably even written a book about it or have found solutions to it. So seeking mentorship, staying very teachable, and then eventually dealing well with failure when it does come. I have, for instance, I'll give you with the TV shows. I have a folder on my computer called the Graveyard. And the Graveyard is, for every TV show we sold, there was 10 or 15 that didn't sell. And for different reasons. They weren't good enough, the market wasn't ready for them. But then if you give up at the 9th, perhaps the 10th one is the one that's going to break you up. So staying teachable and then understanding when the failure does come, that it doesn't define you. Just because a project has failed doesn't make you a failure. So I think it isn't so much about running away from the risk, but just learning to manage it, staying teachable, and seeking mentorship.
Well said. Then for billionaire, Wakili, we're coming to you. So the companies, you talked about, narrowing down to, to one company or to just one, path whereby you certain you put all the effort and all the energy. So for young individuals, we're just interested, in knowing, because again, and we've heard from the previous panel, it's not just about being number one. Sometimes it's just being the best, not necessarily number one, right? So what practical advice or steps would you recommend for them, that's young investors, young entrepreneurs, to effectively engage and drive changes in their environments, in their communities?
Okay, thank you again. First of all, before you ask questions, I would like to ask questions. With the team we have here, how many of us have their passports? We are in KQ anyway. How many have their passports? Yes, the ones who are proud are raising, others have not. Now, I'm looking at the ones who have not raised. Second question, who among us has their business they're running somewhere? Even if you're employed, you're running a business on the side.
The C is watching. For the KQ people.
No one in KQ has raised their hand, by the way.
I want to be safe.
This is a challenge I see. the practical steps that we can take, first of all, is I say you dream like a child. For example, in my family, they say Max is mad. They call me Mad Max because the things I've told them from long time ago, they thought I was mad. When I was telling them I want to start a factory in China, they're like, factory China, mkubwa vipi? This is now where you need to analyze yourself, because the problem we have with most of us is we set our goals really small. And some time back I was told that's the disease. You set your goals too small such that the effort that will be demanded out of you will be still small. But when I set a goal of becoming a billionaire from way back then, I knew I needed to work like crazy. So when sorry, I lied when I said I've never been employed. I went for internship for 6 months. And the problem became the people in that organization started complaining. Max is coming too early and he's overstaying in the office. Because that's the way I know how to operate. So I come to office at 4 or 5 and they meet me there, they start complaining. This guy is overstaying here. So that's the only brief experience I had with employment. Now, that etiquette has been highly influenced by the dreams I have, the visions I set in myself. I know if, sorry to use Eugene, but if Eugene is working, let's say 5 hours, I'll try and say that Eugene won't outwork me because I have a bigger dream than other person. The reason I was asking about passport, you need to be exposed enough for you to see your vision has to be out there, because right now what you're comparing yourself with is Nairobi. If you go to, let's say, you go to the US, you go to, for example, China, you're in the land of the future. And there you get challenged. Your business, you're thinking of selling, let's say, glasses. You go to another world, you meet the way they are doing it, you'll be so challenged to come back here and push your business further, do things in a different way. So I think the practical steps, first of all, is expose yourself and then dream like a child. Ask. The Bible says you have not because you ask not. Ask for everything.
Exactly. Stay curious, right? We got that right? Let's clap. So Wakili, very briefly, so you've told us such a beautiful story of how you reason. Look at it, you've done good for yourself. You are a lawyer, admitted to the bar. You're a partner of a company. So very brief message to all of us sitting here on how you encourage, the greater involvement of the youth, not just in the country, but globally, this being International Youth Day.
Pardon, I did not get the last part of your question.
Yeah, so I'm saying from your perspective as a lawyer, you've told us such an amazing story. You've made it well. You're a partner right now. So what message do you have to us and all of us in this space on what your message rather on encouraging the greater involvement of the youth, not just in the country, but globally, today being International Youth Day?
Thank you very much. First of all, happy International Youth Day to all of you. The youth globally is a force that, if it is effectively used, it can change the world. Here in Kenya, being a major player in the global field, in commerce and in other related areas, the youth have given out their best. The youth have risen up to show us that whatever they want to do, they can do it as long as they are determined. To involve the youth in the current spaces, economic, commercial, and all the other areas, both in Kenya and globally, the biggest barrier when it comes to the involvement of the youth, even investment opportunities, is compliance. What do I mean when I say compliance? A 23-year-old here in Kenya has identified a business opportunity. This 23-year-old wants to venture into that business. The moment they want to start that business, there are so many things they have to tick for them to start that business. This youth can be easily involved, can easily be involved in the investment opportunities if an enabling environment is created. What do I mean? in Kenya we pay so many taxes, and I'm not against paying taxes, but we pay so many taxes. And in other areas, like the marginalized sections or the marginalized community, there's this particular positive program called affirmative action. If I am starting a business at the age of 23 years with very limited capital, why do I have to tick through all those boxes that a 50-year-old is supposed to tick when they're starting a business? We can always encourage affirmative action in these areas. We are not asking to be favored, but we are asking for an enabling environment to be created. So the government in Kenya and all the other governments abroad, if we can only create an enabling environment, then the youth shall be involved in every sector of development in this country and globally.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So we're going to, thank you. Let's clap for Wakili. So we're going to delve very quickly. So I have 5 minutes because I don't want to be the person standing between you and your sunset or the sunshine, because it rarely comes, especially given the weather that we're experiencing. So just 5 questions, and I can limit that to 3. So there's a quick question. We can help pass the mics around. Okay, there's a question just next to me here. Let's go for it.
So again, my name is Kelvin from Kenya Airways. So I have a burning question, and I think now that we've done 2 panels, it's the best time to ask this. So you've mentioned something about, for this panel, it's more of business ideas, growing with your own business. I would like to presume for Kilavuka's case, it's more of employment-wise. So now the challenge we are having as youth is, do we follow the career or do we follow the money? Which is which? Because you find, just yesterday, through our online platforms, there was a youth who had a number of qualifications, including IATA training courses, but you find him saying, whatever job I get in KQ, I'm ready to do that. So my question is, what advice do you have for us as the youth? Because at times we are desperate, we'll do anything. And then once we are in, what do we do? Do we go for the career? Do we follow the money? Because at times you find they don't go hand in hand. It's almost like inverse instead of directly proportional.
All right, thank you.
So maybe we can get...
Yeah. So just 2 more questions, then we can close. So there's a question at the back there. You can pass the mic. Oh, okay. 2, 3. Okay, we're done. Yes, please.
My name is Wendy. My name is Wendy. I'm an advocate. I'm working in KQ in the legal department. I have 2 questions, one for Eugene and one for my fellow Akili here. As someone who initially wanted to pursue theater arts, I was discouraged because it's not really credible in Kenya. So I opted to become an advocate, and here I am. So my question is, in this day and age right now, how do you mitigate, or rather how do you differentiate clout and talent? And for my fellow Akili, my question is, as someone who just recently got admitted, the profession is quote unquote known for gatekeeping. Most seniors don't really like holding hands for the, holding the junior lawyer. I'll ask you, for people who are going to be admitted later on, what is the one thing you'd advise them on? How are you going to encourage mentorship within the legal profession?
All right, in other words, can you give her a job? I'm joking. So, because she's a lawyer. All right, so by you asking 2 questions, you need another person a question. So we'll take the very last question. Yes, the gentleman at the back.
Ladies and gentlemen, God is good. All the time. And all the time. Yeah, my good name is Omanza, son of Omanza. Or for those who have never sent me M-Pesa, it's Dr. Babazuri. First, I want to appreciate KQ for giving us an opportunity to be here. I'm a student leader for all universities in Nairobi, colleges and tertiary institutions, including CBC and Sunday schools. Yeah, I want to appreciate, thank you so much. I want to appreciate you because when I saw the invitation, I thought you were going to JKI. Actually, I got lost. I went to JKI for the first time, and I was happy I had to come back here. But thanks to KQ, you're doing the Lord's work, and you'll go to heaven. Now, my good question. I'm asking this. I'm sorry I came late. I didn't ask the first panel. Maybe I can ask you, and maybe if I'll get a chance, I'll hear from them. As a student leader, comrades are suffering. And we as comrades, you know that comrade is always right and is never wrong, right? And when you think he's wrong, refer to number 1 and 2. So we are suffering. And I'll ask you, as we talk about the youth, today we are talking about the youth. For the first time, we are having a different kind of International Youth Day because of what has been happening recently. And the majority, highest percentage of the that make the youth are comrades in campus. Personally, if I can give an example, I went to school and I did my political science first degree in multimedia university before going to MKU law school. After that, why did I go back to do the second degree? Because hakukuwa na job. Mimi nimezaliwa hapa Mukuru. Hata niongee Kiswahili ndio watu waelewe, watu wako home na kila mtu. Nimezaliwa hapa Mukuru, hakuna job. Tunakuja hapa tunaongea, oh we are doing this, oh we are doing. I want to appreciate KCB. KCB has supported comrades in terms of events. But again, sisi wenye hatuna connection, wale comrade ametoka Ushago, ule kienyeji ametoka Western, ule ametoka Kisii, yeye atasaidikaje kupata hizi opportunity? Because when we say we are coming and investments, unaona wale wase huko mbele, mwingine ni billionaire, mwingine sijui ni CEO, sijui nini. At 20 walianza hizo. Mimi at 20 kitu nimeanza ni relationship yenye iliisha. So yeah, I'm just asking, I mean from the layman's point of view, I came here late because I had an exam. From my MKU law school. I was doing my first legal system. My fellow colleagues know that. And why did I go to do that? Of course, hata kama niliandika rumors, kudanganya tu lecturer, confirm na nipe marks. There are many students, many comrades who did not sit for the exam. Why? Because they could not pay school fees. Some of us work day and night. You remember the case of my good friend, the one mwenye alisalimia askari huko Kiambu Road, akamsalimia kwa kumpiga, hakumpiga, askari ndio alisonga karibu na mikono yake. Why did he do that?
Baba Zuri, so I think we're
digressing
because
in a minute, kindly, as I finish, kindly. Why did I'm just giving this example because these are the issues that took us to the roads. As comrades, these are the issues that made us suffer. So I'll ask KQ, I know you're giving attachment to my colleagues here, you're giving internship, but kuna ule comrade haezi fika JKIA. What are we doing for them so that wapate hizo opportunity? We have comrades who have a youth-led organization. We have comrades who have projects that they can do. From the Kenya University Student Organization, as the Nairobi coordinator, I'm requesting, considering number 2, expectation of the email that you sent to us, we are coming here for opportunities. I'll want to hear those opportunities so that I take back to my comrades.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your question. So to just go over quickly the questions. So Eugene will direct this to you, so we also get to move faster. So we've been asked about career or employment. From experience, tell us.
It's a very interesting question whether to seek employment or go into entrepreneurship. And I think there's no right answer. There's no right or wrong answer. Entrepreneurship requires a certain kind of personality. It depends on your risk appetite. And the reality of it is you could find immense success in both. There's entrepreneurs who strike it rich, many who don't. There's people who go into the career world and do it very well, others who don't. In my personal experience, I have never had formal employment, and it's not a thing I'm proud of, because I run a business now, and there's a lot of challenges that I face that had I worked in a more structured, bigger company, that I would have had better experience with that. So I would say take advantage of the opportunities that are available for you. Be very honest about your personality type. If you are the person who likes security and wants to work in a structured way, there's definitely a way to find immense success in a career path. If you're a person who's a bit more risk-taking and a bit more curious about the world, then you could go out and create something. But I think also above all is that there's no harm in pivoting down the way. There's many people who go into careers and then get into entrepreneurship and vice versa. So I honestly don't think there's a right or wrong way. It just depends on your personality type and your risk appetite, and also what opportunities are available for you.
Wow, very, very well put. Let's clap for Eugene. So wakili, hii maneno ya passion, umesikia, tuambie in one sentence, tufanye nini? What do you advise the lady? Haraka haraka.
I will respond to your question. I think that is the one he's referring to. The gap between, or the mentorship in our profession, where the people who have been in the profession for quite some time have been gatekeeping, and the young advocates who are coming in have limited opportunities. So from my experience, or rather my time in the field, I came to realize that when you seek, you shall find. So the cake is big for all of us. And my experience in the partnership area, which is more or less a private business, you get an opportunity, you do it very well, you'll get a referral. These referrals keep on building, they build, they build, they build. At the end of the day, you don't need that senior partner to refer you somewhere for you to have an opportunity. Number two, the current crop of advocates that is coming up is very detail-oriented and alive to the problems that are facing the society, the law society of Kenya. And as such, we have seen even programs which are coming up on how to bridge that gap between our seniors and the juniors, so that at the end of the day, it is not a competition, but we complement each other. So being in that space, I will say that for as long as you are willing to work and identify opportunities, once you are able to do something and you do it very well, it doesn't matter. Doors will open. From my experience, that is it.
All right, so thank you, Wakili. And Eugene can add on to that and also ask one of them, or each of them, to add in a one-liner. So Babazura has asked a very good question. I think you've likely touched on that, about opportunities, because there are lots of management trainees currently at Kenya Airways. There are lots of people at the KCB 2Jiri program and many other, programs under other companies. And someone will tell you that sometimes, and I know sometimes people think, that you have to know someone to be in a certain big organization. Like, I remember when I first got a job here in communications, people asked me, who did you know? And surprisingly, you don't have to know anyone as long as you qualified, right? And sometimes that doesn't fly, right? Because people want to oppose and fit to their narratives. But the management trainees here, I want them to lift their hands. Management trainees here, a few MTs, we have them. Who do you know at Kenya Airways? You know no one. Oh, that's really good, because it's the truth. All right, so just a one-liner from the panel, then we'll close down. Next 5 minutes, we're doing the last session, then we can call it a day. Very quickly, Eugene, Wakili, then Billionaire.
I think there was a direct question that was asked at me, which is the difference between clout and talent. Working in the creative sector now, it's become very interesting because of social media. There's a lot of people. One of the easiest ways to become very famous is to do something absurd on the internet. And it's all kinds of things, from sexual stuff to sex tapes and all these, as simple as there's a bunch of guys now who just sit there and eat a lot of food in a very short period of time. And what I've found is that there's a large difference between fame and infamy. And sometimes because of social media now, it's become a bit difficult to differentiate because you're getting an applause anyway. But I think in terms of just sustainability and a personal brand, in the long run, having a good reputation matters more than being infamous. And so in terms of just that, I would say, sometimes there's people who go and do some cloud stuff and they do find some success, but sustainability and the staying power of those people is usually very low. And the chances of you undoing that later, if you wanted to, are difficult. And I mean, you could start being good, and then if you want later when you're older, you could change that. But undoing it the other way around is almost impossible. My closing part, in short, is again, now because of social media, a lot of us young people get this sense that the world is this gloomy and very difficult time, and I think it's because of all the information that we are consuming. But the reality is that, for us, a lot of you people, there's never been a better time to be young than there is now. Human beings are living longer. You have the privilege of youth. You have connectivity and the internet, and you could be anything that you want to be. And so just to make you feel encouraged that it's never been a better time to be a young person than it is now.
Wonderful, wonderful. So your parting shot, Wakili, then we come to Billionaire, then we call it a day.
Thank you very much. Mine will be very, very brief. The universe is very generous, and each and every day when we wake up in the morning, it is looking for who has been utilizing their strength, their opportunities, their time well, so that I can reward them. So tomorrow as you wake up in the morning, make sure you are the best version of yourself. Work hard, work smart, do your best. And as it is said, luck favors the prepared mind. Be prepared. When the opportunity comes, it will be yours. Thank you very much.
There you go. You heard it here first, Billionaire.
For me, the challenge will be all of us. Can we try and think globally? you think your business is struggling in Kenya, it might be thriving in Yugoslavia. Think global. Like, you're limiting yourself to the challenges we have here in Kenya, whereas you could be thriving somewhere else. If you start your small business, start marketing everywhere. You can be supplying products in any country. The first time I started selling things in Togo, I never knew I could sell in Togo. So think globally.
Okay, there goes the challenge. Let's go for all of them. So ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our session. Hatuna anguka nayo. Tuko na anguka nayo? Hatuna. Ndio hivyo sasa tumemaliza. Let's clap for them. Okay, so we've come to the very tail end of this session, but before that, I'm going to invite someone who's going to take 5 minutes of your time, and if she doesn't, maybe I need to pull her off stage politely. All right, so let me just introduce her. All right, so I'm told she's supposed to do the vote of thanks, but let me just introduce her. So she is a prominent youth champion and a leadership advocate in Africa with a distinguished career in public service. Her extensive experience includes high-level roles in communications and event management. So ladies and gentlemen, she's looking dazzling in all white. Her name is Ruth Mweni Muhwana.
Viva Africa, viva! Can we do Viva Africa, viva? Vijana power. Standing on all protocols observed. I see my mentor, Brenda, there. Today I know I let her down somewhere, but if she was in my position, I know she would have told me, go girl, go girl, go girl. And thank you very much. Yeah, so Bwana CEO, Bwana Alan, Bwana CEO, Bwana Rusho, Madam CEO, Madam Brenda, our youth champions of the day today. I would like to salute you and just say congratulations for getting to see this day of International Youth Day. I'm very proud of you. So let me throw in a joke before I have a conversation with my co-MC, because there's something I want him to do before he walks down, just in 1 minute. We were visiting KQ a month ago as one of the Asante clientels, together with my brother, billionaire Maxwell, courtesy of the CEO. And this is the moment where we as young people, we have been taught to seize the moment. Carpe diem, that's the word. And when we are having a conversation with the CEO, because I see how he relates with the employees, the staff around, I realize this is a good man. He listens. Why not? And this is the time we should throw this idea to him. So what Eugene was saying, what Billionaire was saying, and what my fellow moderators and my brother over here was saying is that during that moment, you should always seize the moment. Today I'm asking you a question. As young people, you're seated here. I can see all the staffs from KQ. Have you spoken to your CEO today? Have you? Have you gone to the CEO from KCB to say hello? It's your day. Today there's that protocol, I know, but have you said hello? Okay, good. So have you gone to Brenda? Have you spoken to Eugene Bugwa? You know he owns all the reality shows in this country and across all over. Yes, all the celebrities you want to see. Yes. Have you? If not, this is my question to you. Seize the moment. This is the time. This is the hour. Seize the moment. Solutions lie here. Answers are here. Everything you want is here. So don't get out of this place without seizing the moment. So when we sat down with the CEO, he agreed, let's have this fireside chat. And I'm hoping through the CEO, we can be having this fireside chat every now and then. And we make it something that will have great impact coming out of them. I'm glad to hear from this podium that my brother, billionaire Maxwell, saying that he's going to introduce many other different counties. Because when we had a conversation with him, through leadership, he said he would like to go to different countries and even speak to other governors and get all the other stakeholders in businesses so that they can have these collaborations. So there's power in collaboration, there's power in seizing the moment, there's power in being disciplined, and there's power in submitting. So that's all I want to tell you as young people today. So even as I exit the stage, my word to you will be seize the moment. And so what's the way forward? I'm going to ask Bwana Rusho
Are you hosting the next fireside chat? Thank you so much. A round of applause for CEO KQ and CEO KCB, because that means then we have the next fireside chat and we'll have the next champions. We want to see the next moderators coming from you. We want to see the next billionaires sitting on those panels. We want to see the next Eugene Bugwas coming from you. So next time, let's not have the same faces. We want to see the next Mwenis when we're going to Bonarusho's place for a fireside chat coming from you. So as I exit the stage, I will not leave here without asking Bwana CEO and Madam Batha just one last question. What is the future for these youths? I know you have spoken. What is the future? That's why I want to be.
Really now? Yeah, so very briefly.
Wow. The future is yours. The world is your oyster. Make it what you wish. Thank you.
Wow. I need to still with pride. I would just like to say that I am so proud of the youth of this country. I am so proud of the youth and I have a lot of faith in the youth of this country. You've demonstrated beyond any shadow of a doubt that you are ready to seize the moment, to take opportunity, to take leadership. So the future, like Brenda's saying, is in your hands. And I like what Ruth says, seize it, seize it. Those of us, the reason why you're sitting here today is because we are listening. Many of us, the corporate leaders, are listening. Other leaders are listening. So seize the moment. The future is yours.
Thank you. Yes.
Can I say all of the above?
Absolutely.
Now, I think it links to the question that Baba Zuri had raised, right? Because, yes, we do have challenges. There's no doubt about it. And I think all of us are on the same page about it. But it doesn't take away the massive opportunities ahead of us. The question is, how do we come together to be able to realize and create more opportunities for those youths and those who will come after us? One of the things that I always say is, I say for every single staff that works for KCB, they must know how to run their kiosk. I stand as a CEO in staff forum and tell staff, as long as it's a business that does not compete with banking, do it. Because there is no one who gives you loans at 5%, 6%, 7%. Everybody else here is borrowing at 17%. Why the hell would you not be, as a KCB staff, be able to progress and do something meaningful for yourself? Now, as you do that, you create opportunities for others. Right? And today, when I look at all CEOs and a representation here, is everyone is trying to do the best for this country. And we do not compete. So how do we then come together to make sure those opportunities are realized? And this is just the space. So please step forward, show up. And that's what I'll say to the youth. If you don't show up,
nobody's going to show up for you.
It's gone.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'd like to say thank you on that note. So my fellow youths, let us build bridges of understanding and cooperation, transcending borders and differences by working together. That's what I want to say. We can foster a world where every voice is heard, every individual has the opportunity to thrive, and our planet is protected for future generations. Embrace the spirit of collaboration and take action in your communities, whether through advocacy, like Eugene said, creativity, or simple acts of kindness. Your efforts are vital. Together, we can create a future that reflects our shared values of justice, equality, and peace. The future is ours to shape. Let's run the show. A round of applause to everyone who made it here today. Thank you very much. My name is Ruth Mweni, an African Youth Champion. Asante.
All right, so I'll ask that we all rest on our feet. Let's rest on our feet, all of us. Oh, I forgot you. Let's rest on our feet. Then I want us to open our arms wide, our arms very wide. Then once we clap, we say, oh yes. Okay, let's go wide, 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 wide. Our arms very wide. Then let's bring them together and say, oh yes. That's for every one of you. Have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Let me just say one or two thank yous. Just relax for a few. Yeah, this guy, I told him he's good and an appraiser. Your appraiser is not going to be very good. No, we were supposed to say thank you formally. I know she said thank you generally. So we need to say thank you formally. First of all, to you, the youth who turned up today. This is your day. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being patient. You proved the skeptics wrong. They say you're very impatient, but I saw you're very patient. You listened, you're keen, you're taking notes. Well done. Thank you. Then, secondly, I also wanted to thank especially panelists and guests. I asked them only once, and they said yes, all of them. I didn't need to convince them. So they have come here out of their own goodwill because they want to contribute to this discussion. Thank you very much. I think there are some gifts that I'm going to give. But before that, I also wanted to thank two people or three people here. One is Cynthia. Thank you very much for letting us dance. You know, we are not going to pay you for this work because you let us do this Anguka Nayo thing. You're in trouble. Korea, thank you very much. I think we'll appraisal maybe see mbaya sana. It's not too bad. And also wanted to thank Mweni. Thank you. You have got a crowd, eh? You've got a crowd. I also wanted to thank, there are some people behind the scenes who are working very hard. They put all this together. Sharon, thank you very much, Sharon. Sharon was working in my office. She's one of the MTs there. There is also Angela. Maybe, I can't see her now. Where is she? Somewhere. Oh, there she is. Yeah. Then there is also Moneki. Thank you. That's from my office. There's a comms team. I've seen Timothy, Korea. Timothy, where are you? There you go. Korea. Who else? I've seen Vivian. Where is our Kajenzi? Where is she? Where? Oh, there you are. Yeah, that's my fellow hiker. Yeah, she's a fellow hiker. She does a lot of good hiking. And then anybody else? I think I might have forgotten one or two, but oh, marketing team. You know, marketing team, kazi yao ni kuchukua pesa tu. Their job is just to team. Yeah, I can see. My eyesight is very bad, but I can see Winnie, Cecilia, and Irene. Thank you very much. Next time, spend less money. Spend less money, marketing team. Okay, with that, I'd like to ask the panelists to come to the floor, maybe one at a time, right? Yeah. Let's start with Brenda, the beautiful CEO. And then next up is, okay, let's go to, okay, Eugene.
All right, let's clap for him as he gets the gift. Quick photo op right there. Quick photo op. Asante sana, Eugene, for coming. Next up, let's have our friend, Mr. Russo. Oh, billionaire. Okay, Gen Z's first, eh? Was he complaining about social media about you, eh? Okay, billionaire. Okay, let's clap for billionaire. Asante sana for coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Mweni, you know yourself, come up on stage. She brought her crowd. Karibu sana, let's clap for her. Asante Mweni, we are so happy that you took the time off your very busy schedule to join us. Thank you very much. So quick photo op right there. Quick photo op. Asante sana Mweni, let's clap for her. Then finally we have Solomon before, okay, all right. Solomon, you said too much at the back. Solomon, let's clap for Solomon. Asante sana for making time to be with us at Kenya Airways and for the rest of our partners. Thank you, let's clap for him. And finally we have Paul Russell. Karibu sana. Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you for taking the time to be with us here today and the youth. Quick photo up there. Asante sana. Quick photo up. Perfect. Let's clap for him. Finally, we have Cindy Mwangi. Go on stage. You need my help just in case you trip. Oh, Paul is there for you. Thank you so much, Cindy, for taking the time to be with us here today. Asante sana. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's clap for her. All right. Perfect. So.
Okay, could I call all the panelists to... this courier guy, he's always abandoning her. How do you have courier? And you know he's not married. No wonder. Now I see the problem. Let me ask Brenda, Paul, Billionaire, and Solomon, and also Eugene to come to the front so we can take some photographs. Let's take the panelists first and then we'll take...
Yeah, so let's do the panelists first, then we'll do the rest of the guests. And by the way, I've redeemed myself for my appraisal for this photo of Alan. So everyone had forgotten about it, then I came up with it, so we should be good. All right, so we good? Okay, quick photo up there. I think we can smile a bit more. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Perfect. Okay, let's clap for them. So let's have them now joined by the rest of the people. And I see someone I want to call here, our CFO. Okay, all right, don't worry. Our CFO, I'll request that to join us on stage. Our CFO is here with us, Helen. Asante sana, Helen, for coming. Okay, yeah. Appraisal. Welcome. All right. Yeah, let's have a quick photo op. And I'll join them just for evidence that I was at this event, yes. For the gram. All right, thank you very much. Thank you. We can all get down from stage. Yeah, thank you, Brenda. Yeah, so we have refreshments. Please do not go. And I'm just about to forget these ladies again. Come. Okay. No, she's good. Yeah, so don't leave yet, please. There are refreshments and a few bites over that corner. And as you can see, we also have the fireside, like literally. So please join us for that. Asante sana. Let's clap for everyone. Thank you very much. Do have a wonderful day. My name is Kanyingi Kuria. I've been your MC. Asante.